To all the mofos that don't want to get spoiled, leave. Spider-Man Brand New Day breakdown. Every Easter egg and detail you missed. Talk to me. I'm gonna have it in 1.2 speed so we can get through it a little bit quicker. And yeah, man, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's get it.
I found over 100 actual Easter eggs and really hard to spot details in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's apparently a great power that I have that Aunt May says makes me special. I'm Eric Boss of the New Rockstars channel, and this is a complete breakdown of every Easter egg and reference and detail you missed in Spider-Man Brand New Day. I seriously found over 100 Easter eggs, and I can't wait
over 100? Holy shit.
To share them with you with this scene-by-scene breakdown of Destin Daniel Cretton's amazing film. A breakdown that might be one of our longest
137 Easter eggs, an hour and 26 minutes long. Let's get it.
Most in-depth breakdowns we've ever done on this channel. Before this film even begins, we hear composer Michael Giacchino's Spider-Man theme on piano, the theme that he composed originally for Spider-Man Homecoming, but we only hear part of the melody. Here it goes, dun, 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 dun. And normally the theme goes, dun, 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 dun. But last week at San Diego Comic-Con, I got to meet Michael Giacchino after his annual composer panel.
You know what I also peeped? In the Marvel opening, that nigga was disappearing, bro. He was like, if you looked in the Marvel opening, in the flashbacks of the Marvel opening, he was disappearing. Shit, so tough.
And he said at this panel that for his theme for Spider-Man Brand New Day, he actually took the Homecoming theme and subtracted notes from it in order to represent the missing elements of Peter's life now. Tough. Similarly, over this opening Marvel Studios title card, something has been erased here too. Peter. We start with concept art and poster art of Peter from Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man No Way Home. And then instead of iconic MCU script lines like the opening title bumper normally has, here we see script lines of Peter and Doctor Strange's exchange near the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, when Peter told Doctor Strange to go through with the memory wipe spell, the runes of Call, in order to close these rifts in reality. So the line here is Peter saying, cast a new spell, make everyone forget me. And Doctor Strange saying, it would be as though you never existed. And then Peter saying, I know, do it. And then we see the golden ring of those runes of the memory wipe spell as it bursts outward.
In the title opening, I did see that.
And then shots from all these past films of Peter.
He's dead ass disappearing. That shit is so crazy, bro.
With others as he vanishes from the frame. From No Way Home, MJ reading the newspaper, the headline, Peter Parker and his spider minions. Remember, Peter laid beside her on that rooftop with his head on the chemistry textbook. Now he vanishes so that she's by herself in this frame. Technically, that newspaper would have also warped so that Spider-Man never would have been outed by Mysterio. But remember, the memory wipe spell just left out the part of Mysterio's message that outed Peter. There was still the part of the broadcast where Mysterio blamed Spider-Man for everything that happened in London. So now in this memory, MJ's just reading some article about how Spider-Man's an asshole. And then this shot from Far From Home where MJ and Peter walk in Prague. This was right when MJ deduced that Peter was Spider-Man. Peter vanishes from this shot. And then from No Way Home on the right of the frame here, we see Peter in the icy Sanctum Sanctorum with MJ and Ned. And then Peter vanishes from this. And then from Homecoming on the left of the frame here, Peter's at the lunch table with Ned in the moment they fawned over Liz Allen. And then behind Ned on the inner top of the R, Aunt May is folding laundry. I think this is from Homecoming. And then on the right, on the lower leg of the R of Marvel, MJ and Peter are on Tower Bridge kissing from the end of Far From Home, but Peter vanishes from that. And then on
it's like she kissed nobody. That shit is so crazy.
The further right, on the other leg of the R of Marvel, Ned and Peter are sitting beside each other on the tour bus in Far From Home. Peter vanishes from that. And then above that, on the curved part of the R of Marvel, Peter's facing Green Goblin in the final battle of No Way Home. But notice he does not vanish here. Maybe because Norman Osborn and Peter Parker from Earth 96283 still remember that Peter is Spider-Man, because that spell did not affect people in other universes. And then on the far right, on the left arm of the V, MJ is standing next to the crown jewels in the Tower of London vault in Far From Home. Peter wasn't around her for that memory anyway. And then back at the top of the A of Marvel, the moment Peter said goodbye to MJ and Ned before the spell in the sunrise in No Way Home. And then as we pull away from the letters and we see MARVEL, we see Aunt.
Yeah, just mad empty memories.
May in the M, Ned in the A, Peter in the R. This is from the final battle of No Way Home, and MJ in the V. And I think that's Doctor Strange's spell glowing in the E. And the final Marvel Studios title appears over the Spider-Man mask. So we open this film on Peter Parker in his new apartment in Manhattan, an attic storage loft that he must have gotten on the cheap and moved into since the last place we saw him move into in No Way Home's epilogue. Peter has a new self-built suit fabricator device, 3D printing repairs to his suit. Gone is the Stark tech that he used to do this kind of thing in past MCU films. Now all of Peter's tech must have been been engineered by himself. And you can see on his dresser his old sewing machine, the one that he used to make the suit that he was wearing at the end of No Way Home. Over this, we hear Peter's voice. Hi, my name is Peter Parker. You don't remember me, but I have something to tell you that's going to sound crazy. But it's the truth, and I know you're going to believe me because you're very good at telling when I'm lying. As we'll see in a moment, these are the words to Peter's letter to MJ, a letter that MJ will eventually read in this movie and believe him because she's good at telling when people are lying. This is the letter that he nearly gave her in the final minutes of No Way Home in the donut shop, but stuffed in his pocket instead. Now he keeps it in that same coffee cup that MJ gave to him. Peter is calibrating his web shooters with the help of his new AI assistant, Evie. No, Evie does not stand for Eric Voss, but she is voiced by Naomi Watts, the first major screen actress Tom Holland worked with in the 2012 film The Impossible, an actress that he really credited with teaching him how to conduct himself as a professional actor on a film set. So I really love how Tom's first on-screen mommy guides him throughout this movie. Peter has his own wall covered in less friendly neighborhood villains that he's been tracking lately, and a pop-up reconstruction of the
Boomerang is back. I wish they would have showed us more on this and more on Tombstone and everybody else, but like I can understand why they didn't. Yo, genuinely, chat, am I the only one that felt like it's a great movie, but even in 2.5 hours, it felt rushed. There was no empty, like it was just everything. It didn't feel rushed. It just felt like there was, I wanted to know what happened before, and I wanted to know what happened after. Like I wanted more.
Set, we can see that it has various Daily Bugle print edition front pages about Boomerang, Tombstone, Scorpion, and Tarantula. Throughout this opening montage, he will take their photos off this board as he brings them down. There is a clipped note at the top reading great power, great responsibility, as he tries to apply the wisdom that Aunt May gave him before she died. On Peter's desk, you can see containers of gold and bronze-colored substances. I'm assuming these are part of the high polymer ingredients that he mentions to Ned later that go into his webbing. In Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter's web fluid 3.01 contains salicylic acid, toluene, and methanol. I assume he uses even more efficient stuff now. Peter finds the letter that he wrote in this cup, as if he forgot that it even existed and hadn't read it in a while, and his voiceover goes on. We used to know each other, we were together, but something bad was going to happen, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget me, including you. Peter's phone buzzes with a notification from Ned's Instagram account about how Ned and MJ's first day at MIT. Remember, when Peter asked Dr. Strange to carry out the Runes of Cough Call Memory Wipe spell at the end of No Way Home, he erased the scandalous history that kept Ned and MJ, from their association with Peter, from getting into their dream school. Now, those two have gotten into MIT, along with Flash Thompson, while Peter stayed in Manhattan studying for the GED, so that would set this scene sometime around August or September 2024.
Oh yeah, this is later in that same year.
Or in the MCU timeline, or 8 to 9 months after the final shot of No Way Home. But the rest of this montage will show Peter's adventures over the next 4 years while the others are at school. Now, Peter's phone in this movie is a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 at $1,100 at the cheapest, and all of his fancy equipment and treadmill. We are wondering how
you getting this money? You're supposed to be broke. Like, yeah, you in New York, you know what I'm saying? But how you getting this money? Genuinely, I also think maybe he has an official job. Because he was on the phone with the detective. Does you think he might have like an official job with them? Because like he got a direct line to the detective like that, you know what I'm saying?
Peter is making enough money to afford all of this stuff. Maybe when he showed Yelena his feet in the bathhouse, he was kind of promoting his OnlyFans. Ned's Instagram account name is The Grateful Ned 42. This is a play on The Grateful Dead, and 42, the big magic number from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Jackie Robinson's number, and in the animated Spider-Verse movies, the universe of the spider that bit Miles Morales, the universe where Miles G. Morales comes from. That will factor in big to Beyond the Spider-Verse coming.
Also, me and Aaron locked eyes when this moment happened. We both think the little kid that Spider-Man saved during the shit, Miles Morales. Come on now. Live action. It happened last time.
Next year. Since this movie's post-credit scene shows
That's how the shit Iron Man, when Iron Man saved the kid in the city, it was Peter. Same concept.
Ned's Spidey Tracker app finding a new location for Peter or some other Spider-Man in space. Maybe it's all a clue that Ned, through his portal sorcery that he randomly had in No Way Home, is the key to the live-action Spider-Verse, having his own way of tracking Spider-Men, including Miles Morales or Gwen Stacy, or maybe even Tobey Maguire's Peter too, from alternate Earths when they arrive via incursions. In the past, Kevin Feige has indicated that they can't really bring in the live-action Miles Morales, who we know exists in this universe, from the lines of Donald Glover's Aaron Davis in Spider-Man Homecoming.
I don't want those weapons in this neighborhood. I got a nephew who live here. Yeah, sorry, Miles. I'm not gonna make it.
Feige has said that he can't bring in a live-action Miles until after Beyond the Spider-Verse concludes, but that's coming in less than 12 months at this point. And I feel like part of that answer is gonna come from this Across the Spider-Verse cameo by a live-action Donald Glover as the Prowler from some other universe. Tom Holland did say in a
I'm getting excited. Ooh, I feel like a fucking kid in a candy store.
Recent Empire interview that he wants to be the one to mentor Miles and or Gwen in a future film, saying whether that is a Miles Morales or a Spider-Gwen,
Yeah.
I would love.
Yeah. Tom Holland has been pitching for a Miles Morales. That nigga has been pitching for a Miles Morales. Come on now.
To be a part of setting up the next chapter like Downey did for me. Now we see this stunning shot of Peter suited up, sitting on the underside of a steel construction beam with his feet pointed toward the sky in a cityscape of New York City beneath him, looking like it's above him in this inverted shot. It's just a classic trippy Spider-Man pose that we saw in an early scene with Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy in the animated.
Let's do this. Toby is the best Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield had the most, I wouldn't even say he's the best Spider-Man, but I feel like he had the most spider-like combat. Like he had the most genuine spider-like combat. Tom is the best of both.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I love how this displays Spider-Man's emotional distance from our society. Like he's using his adhesive bonding to surfaces and what must require attentive concentration just to feel like he's dangling over an abyss that would take him into the stratosphere, while he forces the city that he feels duty-bound to protect to stay behind him. Yet those skyscrapers are really clenching down on him like the teeth of a giant monster. It's just interesting how in this movie's post-credit scene, it's gonna locate a new Spider-Man in space, and that's where Peter's feet are pointed to here in this shot. Peter's voiceover concludes, because I'm not just Peter Parker, I'm Spider-Man. And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. Maybe I'll never read this to you. Maybe I'm just writing this for me. Maybe that's my responsibility, to live alone with the truth. But the truth is, MJ, that I love you. And I hope that deep down something inside you remembers that you love me too. Maybe that's my responsibility, to live alone with the truth. Right now, at this point in his life, Peter is not fully understanding the wisdom that his Aunt May gave him. With great power comes great responsibility isn't a demand that you live alone for the rest of your life. And as Jean Grey will pose him the question that he has to choose whether he's Peter or whether he's Spider-Man, ultimately Peter will conclude he's both of those things. Yep. Peter has a new suit design in this film, and it looks awesome. The suit that he wore at the end of Spider-Man.
I like how it had the ripples. It's not too tight. It's tight where it's supposed to be tight for a Spider-Man, but it's not too tight where it doesn't have no flow to it.
And No Way Home was described in that screenplay as, quote, a blue and red suit, new for him, but reminiscent to the suits he's seen before. And in the screenplay pages released by director Destin Daniel Cretton in this movie, they really doubled down that this new design was inspired by the suits worn by the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire variants of Peter Parker that he met in that movie. You can really see that with the raised webbing on the red fabric, something that we haven't really seen since the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire era, and the specific shade of blue, recalling the Mark Webb, Andrew Garfield era. And really just the way the suit fits, with a certain looseness that allows the air to ripple through it, resulting in a natural fit that really made Andrew Garfield's suit one of the best looking on film. And the suit has a new chest logo to represent this new brand new day era. Gone is the squat techie spider logo from the Home trilogy representing Peter's hardwired collaboration with Tony Stark. Now we have this long-limbed spider with thick clawed legs that stretch up far and down his chest.
It's like he's growing up. He's coming into a new age. He's coming into adulthood. Like the little spider felt like a baby, like he was young. This is the adult version of the spider. You feel me?
Representing the fact that this guy is getting arachnid organic webbing to execute the vision of a Spider-Man in this new era.
Spider-Girthy. Jail. Watch that one right there. Whoever said Spider-Girthy, watch him.
Removed from the desaturated Stark Tech nanotech armor designs that Peter had before, Destin Daniel Cretton assembled a dream team of department heads. Director of photography Brett Pollack, Cretton's past collaborator from Short Term 12, The Glass Castle, that also had Sadie Sink in it, and Just Mercy, VFX supervisor Jerome Chen, who worked on the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, really the best live-action web-swinging action that we've seen prior to this film, longtime costume designer Sanja Milkovic-Hayes, stunt and fight coordinator Fen Zhang, who choreographed fights in Shang-Chi, and colorist Tom Poole.
Oh, did you see that Jackie Chan's fight team was the ones also training Tom Holland and the stuntmen for this movie? Bruh, fire. Yes,
the last
bro.
of whom really brought out the reds and saturated midtones of the natural lighting that Pollack shot in. I really don't like comparing this movie to John Watts' work in Spider-Man No Way Home, because that movie was shot during COVID with impressive efficiency, and it was really a miracle that they even could get a movie that good out in December 2021. Without the work of Watts and his crew on that movie, hundreds of movie theaters in North America would have had to shut down. That movie really did save our industry. And speaking of No Way Home, over this montage, we hear TV on the Radio's 2006 track, Wolf Like Me. The music video.
You know what's so crazy? Thinking about that, as I went to see that movie with COVID, and I didn't know I had COVID. I wasn't being irresponsible. I genuinely didn't know I had that shit. But I genuinely saw that movie with COVID, and COVID was gonna shut that shit down. That's so crazy, bro.
Speaking of No Way Home, over this montage, we hear TV on the Radio's 2006 track, Wolf Like Me, the music video for which was shot by John Watts. In addition to it being a sick track, I wonder if Cretton added it here as a nod to Watts' pre-MCU work. Peter catches this guy in a green suit. It's an exact restaging of the cover of Amazing Fantasy 15, the first ever comic appearance of Spider-Man from August 10th, 1962, posed this way to match Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko's cover art. In that first issue, the cover art isn't anything that we see Spider-Man do in this origin story. The green-suited guy is just meant to be a generic thug, who is retroactively named Steve, historically as a nod to Steve Ditko. A news report afterwards says that these guys were part of the Manfredi crime syndicate. The Manfredis are led by Silvio Manfredi, aka Silvermane, and in the deleted restaurant scene of Far From Home, Peter was fighting the Manfredis there. In Spider-Noir, an alternate universe version of Silvermane, the Irishman Finn Byrne was played by Brendan Gleeson. Peter always catches these news reports as part of his routine to pick up flowers for the grave of Aunt May. We now see that May Parker's birth year was 1964.
Damn. You sure? She would be older than my mama. Still take that shit down. I ain't gonna lie. I'd still, boy, shit. My mama was born in 67. She's born in 64, 60. Boy, I'd take that shit down. Mama, you gonna have to forgive me. Shit. You gonna have to forgive me, mama. I'm sorry. She gonna finna need new hips after I'm done now, for real. For real. Hey, Mom. Hey, forgive me, mama.
Birth and death years on this headstone were covered in No Way Home, but now the MCU is okay establishing those events as happening in 2024. Aunt May was not 60 when she died. She was around 54 to 55 since she dusted in a blip. We see the moment Peter moves in.
Oh, true. Okay, that makes sense. She got dust. Okay. Cause I would've, man, hey, either way. Either way. Hold on now. Either way. Fuck. Come on now, Chad. Lock me in.
To his attic storage loft space. This is why his apartment in this movie is different from the space he moved into at the end of No Way Home. We actually found a 3D floor plan of the set design of this, and even an asbestos-filled loft like this in Manhattan with a bedroom and kitchen attached.
Yeah, you're gonna be view to Manhattan, a kitchen over here. Damn, it's a fat ass. You come straight into the bedroom, kitchen over here, bathroom. Oh wait, hey, bro, you paying a pretty penny.
And this much natural light would go for like a minimum of $3,000 a month. I mean, probably way more than that given this square footage. But you know, maybe fewer people want to live in Manhattan in the MCU given the recent Sentry-caused shame.
True. Boy, I'd be out the first thing smoking. I'm about sick of this shit. They done tore this motherfucker down too many times. I done almost died too many times. Man, this would be my final straw. What do you mean? I just got poofed away. Like, I couldn't even run from this shit? Yeah, get me out of here. Nah, real shit. Get me out of here, bro.
Shadows from Thunderbolts and how bad things must have gotten in every big city during the blip, and maybe those whales in the Hudson are just really loud. During a snowy winter month, Peter wears a vest and knit cap.
I thought this was so dope.
Peter has to wear outerwear now because the heaters that used to be in his suit were custom add-ons from the Stark Tech suit in Homecoming, installed by Tony Stark after his experience with cold after the icing over of his armor in the first Iron Man film and him nearly getting hypothermia in Tennessee in Iron Man 3. Now that Peter's suit was made by himself, he has to intentionally add layers for cold weather. Actually, I found this vest. It's an original Breakburn Outfitters make. This whole look of Peter is also something that we saw him wearing in 2018's The Amazing Spider-Man number 795. Peter is fighting Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, Michael Mando. We last saw him in Spider-Man Homecoming when he was seeking weapons from Adrian Toome's crew on the Staten Island ferry, then knocked into the water and arrested and imprisoned on Rikers Island, where we saw his scorpion neck tattoo.
And he said he was going to kill Spider-Man.
As he vowed to put Spider-Man's head in a dryer. It's not clear in this moment how Matt Gargan got out of prison, but in Morbius, we saw Adrian Toomes teleport to another universe out of that prison, and maybe between the chaos of the blip and everything that happened during No Way Home, Gargan was just able to escape. Gargan now has his Scorpion exoskeleton suit, and it looks awesome. He never had that in Homecoming, but there was one subtle line indicating that Adrian Toomes and his tinkerer Phineas Mason did at least build it.
We still have to do the Gargan deal though, right?
Yeah, but then that's it.
This armor has a green color to it as a nod to Scorpion's look look in the comics. And if you look closely at his uppercut attack on Peter, Gargan controls the tail movement with his arm doing the uppercut. I really love this functionality. This framing is a restaging of Alex Saviuk's comic book cover art from 1994's Spider-Man Adventures #2, a tie-in comic with the Fox Kids Spider-Man animated series that was airing at the time. Actually, when talking about all the comic covers that they recreated for this movie,
they recreated mad covers.
And Daniel Cretton said that they had to shoot these slow motion shots at 420 frames per second, which is insane. That's 14 times slower than the normal frame rate of 30 frames per second. Cretton said that there wasn't room for acting choices in such a small gap of time, but that Tom Holland, within that 1/14 of a second, could control his body well enough in order to strike these kinds of expressive poses. I specifically love the detail of the knit cap flying off of Peter's head. In order to get that, you know how hard it would be to place that at first, to time it for it to fly off just like that? To finish this fight, Peter quips to Gargan, "Let's end this on a high note, yeah?" And then he knocks him out with a mini grand piano. Next, we see the MCU debut of Tombstone, Lonnie Lincoln, played by Marvin Jones III.
He cooked,
aka rapper Crund.
He had a very small thing, but I ain't gonna lie, his shit look good though.
This shot recreates Sal Buscema's cover art from 1988's Spectacular Spider-Man 142, really the most iconic Tombstone cover. He asks, "If I drop you here, how long would it take for you to hit the ground?" This scene introduces Liza Colon-Zayas from The Bear as Detective Jean DeWolf. DeWolf is a detective who teams up with Spider-Man during the 70s and 80s runs of the comics, until the 1985 death of Jean DeWolf's storyline, where she dies at the hands of the Sin Eater. Actually, in this scene of the movie, there is a shout out to the writer of that storyline, Peter David, with the storefront sign that reads P. David's Services. New York One news host Pat Kiernan makes another Marvel cameo as himself. He previously was the one who broke the Daily Bugle Mysterio footage that outed Peter Parker in Far From Home and in No Way Home, now reporting that it's a new New York as the crime rates have dropped to a record low thanks to Spider-Man's heroics. This movie is titled Brand New Day after a particular era of Spider-Man comics that began in 2008 following the One More Day storyline, in which Mephisto granted Peter's wish that the world would forget that Peter is Spider-Man, including erasing his relationship with MJ. And this era reestablished Peter as a classic anonymous, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in a somewhat restored era of street-level conflicts and drug dealers, gangs, and other similar criminals. The montage shows Peter taking out more low-level supervillains, all in slow-motion shots recreating other classic comic covers, starting with Boomerang, restaging Eric J. Larson's cover art for 1991's Amazing Spider-Man 345. Boomerang Fred Myers was a Spider-Man villain from 1966, an Australian-American who got caught taking bribes that ended his baseball pitching career and fell into the crime organization called the Secret Empire. We found out from an art book related to this film that each of these boomerangs have different explosive abilities. Next, Tarantula, restaging Tarantula's first appearance in Ross Andrews' cover art of the Amazing Spider-Man 134 from 1974, showing Spider-Man evading one of Tarantula's foot blades on this boat. Just as there is on the cover, there's a cop here aiming a gun with his hand on another cop whom Tarantula had just injured. Tarantula, Anton Miguel Rodriguez, was a South American terrorist who ends up working for the Brand Corporation, who wears razor-clawed boots and gloves that are tipped with toxin that render his victims unconscious. Then Ramrod, restaging Bob Wycheck's cover art of the Amazing Spider-Man number 221 from 1981, when Spider-Man jumps to allow Ramrod to ram his head into a brick wall on the campus of Empire State University. Ramrod is a cyborg with metal plating on his head, shoulders, and chest, originally introduced in Daredevil number 103 in 1973 as a creation of Kerwin Broderick and Moondragon as a cyborg weapon against Daredevil. He faces Spider-Man in the 1981 comic in a plot by Ramrod to develop a potion that will make people go into a rageful frenzy and then die shortly after. Billy Clements played Ramrod in this movie, and he said on Instagram that he was grateful to make it into the film considering they shot lots of other scenes with recognizable actors that were removed from the final cut. Kind of curious who else they had in mind for this movie. Pat Kiernan also said that Spider-Man defeated the Hand, whom we see Peter leaping toward in this epic slow motion wuxia.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I think niggas spend too much time on this. Niggas for sure spend too much time on. I was thinking the same shit. Well, when we was watching No Way Home, and we was like, oh yeah, somebody knocked out and somebody hit the lizard. You know what I'm saying? They're photoshopping niggas out. So they was trying to take that same moment and turn this into a thing. It was not a thing. On God, I thought this was bigger. I deadass thought their beef was gonna be bigger. It was not that big.
Fireworks shot. No, Daredevil was not VFX scrubbed out of this shot. The Hand represents an ancient order of ninjas, first introduced in live action in the Daredevil series in the Netflix era. Their goal then was to defeat death and attain immortality by digging up the bones of an ancient dragon.
Yeah, they were deadass off-screen squabbles that just happened to be used later on, but like they didn't have a big.
Beneath Midland Circle in New York City, remains that they used, along with human blood, to synthesize the resurrection elixir. The leaders of the Hand had used this to stay alive for centuries, but they used the last of it to resurrect Elektra Nachios into the weapon known as Black Sky. The Hand was supposedly defeated as of the Defenders crossover series in 2017, but this movie suggests that all these years later, the Order carried on.
Wait, Elektra? Wait, huh?
The last of it to resurrect Elektra Nachios into the weapon known as Black.
I gotta,
Sky.
bro, I gotta watch some of these shows. Hey, now that have you not seen that? I haven't seen none of the shows. Y'all not honest. I keep telling y'all this. I haven't seen none of the shows. I gotta watch it. Shout out to the Patreon. We gonna lock in.
And was supposedly defeated as of the Defenders crossover series in 2017. But this movie suggests that all these years later, the Order carried on with these 5 or 6 left with their bright red Frank Miller era clothes. This movie really uses the hand as a visual flourish to stage some really cool looking.
Yeah. I feel like they were more of just to get some action shots and not really a prominent figure.
Action, especially in the final battle in the prison, but I'm not sure how much the creative team working on this movie watched the Netflix shows or understood what the hand was really trying to do back then. Peter received the key to the city from new mayor Sheila Rivera. Sabrina Guevara returns here from Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus, where Sheila
they were tough though.
was Mayor Wilson Fisk's chief of staff. But when Fisk was forced to resign at the end of season 2, it seems that she has stepped up, at least as interim mayor. The city's general support for Spider-Man now represents a full 180 from when Fisk, in his inaugural address, called out Spider-Man as a vigilante.
I don't need a gun-toting vigilante who wears a skull on his chest, or a man who dresses in a spider outfit.
Peter plays with his key to the city while he sits with his bruised legs next to his building's washing
That nigga was getting tore up.
machine where he washes his suit, reminding me of Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2 when he did his laundry and his suit turned all of his white clothes pink. Thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. When the sweat, the days are great for a therapist, the gym, or are so guide you therapist quickly. Switch at any time with no additional cost. Go to betterhelp.com/here with you. Peter watches Ned's final semester at MIT Instagram post. Laying on the couch here, you can see Peter with one of his Little Caesars hot and ready pizzas, probably how he survived with a
There should have been no reason you ever eating Little Caesars. I'm sorry. You live in New York. You live in the greatest pizza city ever. Bro, I get you ain't got no bread, but you can get yourself 2 fat ass slices for it. But like, come on, bro. Nah, come on. You doing New York is terrible, twin. You doing New York is bad. You should have never. There shouldn't even be a Little Caesars shouldn't even exist in New York. Come on now, nigga.
cheap food budget, and Little Caesars was one of the big sponsors of this movie. Peter wears his black.
That's the only reason. I promise you.
The physics are theoretical, but the fun is real shirt. Peter wore this in Homecoming when he was with Tony Stark in the car, and in No Way Home when he's being interrogated by the DODC. In this Instagram post, Ned talks about all the great memories he racked up at MIT. Night swimming in the Charles River with Jen and Wiley, the infamous food fight at the Banana Lounge. The Banana Lounge is an actual room on the MIT campus that's filled with bananas. And all-nighters with MJ and someone he calls Nate Dogg. Maybe Nate is the name of the new boyfriend played by Iman Esfandi. Ned says it feels like yesterday when he was sitting on a rooftop with MJ thinking about coming to MIT. This shows how
his memory was wiped, even though he was on the rooftop with MJ, but also Peter. Fuck Paul. Hey, bruh, fuck the boyfriend. On God, bruh. Man, we gonna get to that part, bruh. Memory
was altered by the spell. In No Way Home, Ned, MJ, and Peter all sat on the rooftop dreaming of going to MIT. We see a close-up of the Emperor Palpatine Lego minifigurine. This was how Ned first greeted Peter in Spider-Man Homecoming as they were working on their Lego Death Star together. We saw in the No Way Home final scene that Peter kept that. As Peter exits his apartment, we see a spider and a web in his doorway. We also saw a spider and a spider web in one of the opening shots of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man as Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker ran to catch the bus. This movie will also show our Peter going through a similar physiological change. Peter calls Detective DeWolf from the bodega. In this shop, every time we're in here, really, Bureau can be seen on the shelves. Bureau is Tom Holland's non-alcoholic beer brand. DeWolf brings up the headaches Peter has been getting, as we saw him rubbing his head in the opening montage, showing how despite the particular triggers he goes through in this movie, his physical changes are something that has been coming along for a while. Peter responds to another call and runs across the rooftop, hops over an AC unit, sending us into.
Oh my God, that shit was that was a great shot. Bro, this looked crazy.
Long for a while.
Peter, that looked so. That nigga like, ugh. Bro, that shit looks so gross. The movement was great though.
Responds to another call and runs across a rooftop.
Pre-web. Okay. Jail immediately. Spider, nah. Yeah, get going, bro. You niggas are sick.
Over an AC unit, sending us into this incredible leaping and swinging montage. I don't think we've seen anything this good since Jerome Chen's work in the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man films. It reminds me a lot of the action we see in the Insomniac game.
Literally, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was watching the game.
Peter awkwardly rolls on the diagonal building surface and then goes into a leap where we see his point of view of his boots. I love how there's some sloppiness in the movement and the subjectivity as we are seeing what Peter.
Also, this nigga been hitting some real deal parkour shit. Fuck the webs. This nigga just jumped building to building on some shit. Like no webs. On some like leap.
Games. Peter awkwardly rolls on the diagonal building surface and then goes into a leap where we see his point of view of his boots.
Like, huh?
I love how there's some sloppiness in the movement and the subjectivity as we are seeing what Peter sees. Now Peter runs down this beam and does this backflip dive. We see his body reflected on the nearby building glass as his suit ripples in the wind.
Good.
And another new shot that we haven't seen in any Spider-Man movie before, a macro close-up of Peter's eye under the mask.
And it reminds you of the Iron Man. Oh my God, that shit looks so good.
As the eyepiece's heads-up display reflects in his eyeball. Remember, we saw Peter testing his HUD with EV earlier, and it's this new goggle and the tiny signal that it emits that MJ later deduced.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with the limiter. Bro, it's so crazy. Bro, Spider-Man is going to be such a prominent figure when it comes to the X-Men, like all the X-Men movies, because he's the one. It's so insane how he's the one who made the limiter, bro. That can limit all mutant powers. It's gonna play. He genuinely, like, the technology is there, and they know it's there now.
Is as responsible for his inhibitor chip on his neck not reaching his brain. I love how they set up the answer to that mystery right here in the first 10 minutes. There's another great shot from Peter's point of view, looking up at his arms as he swings toward the Empire State Building. The camera shakes like it's a GoPro strapped to Peter's head or his shoulder. And then on the next big leap, Peter just soars through the air, and notice how he takes a moment to like crack his knuckles as he looks over at the tank plowing through the street. He might also be rubbing his wrists because along with his headaches, his wrists have been aching. Peter here swings into this alley over a pipe, the kind that clotheslined Harry Osborn in the 2007 film.
Oh!
Damn.
And he kicks off the side of the building to follow the hijacked tank as it plows through 2 cop cars. This scene and most of the exterior street shots were shot in Glasgow, Scotland in the earliest days of shooting in August 2025.
I knew that shit looked familiar. I'm like, is this the scenes that we saw when they were getting like those early scenes? Yup.
Workers noted that they were using practical swinging for many shots, suspending a stunt actor from a swinging cable attached to truck-mounted rigging. That's a big reason why the physics of Peter's movement looks so natural and grounded in gravity throughout the sequence. Plus the fact that they were able to shoot on an actual city street, giving lots of shots depth of field where they water the surfaces. It just gives so many of these shots texture that we never saw in past.
Miles Morales, tell me I'm fucking lying. He's what, 11, 12 here? That's Miles. Get the fuck out of here. I'm telling you now, that is fucking Miles. That's Miles, bro. They're paying an homage to Iron Man. It's homage to Iron Man because when Iron Man saved that kid in New York, it was Peter. They're doing the same shit right in front of your eyes, and y'all like, maybe. It's this. I'm telling you, they're gonna go back and say, yeah, that was Miles.
Films. I went into a lot of why this movie looks this good in this new series that we started, why it looks like this. We're actually going to start doing that at least twice a month here on the New Rockstars channel as a new show that we're doing, and we're happy to announce and launch it here. So please check out our past episodes of why it looks like this for Spider-Man Brand New Day, for 2025 Superman, and for 2026's Backrooms. I really love this shot where Peter swings past the tank as it shoots at him, stops right in front of the camera, and then whips himself back in the tank to take out its high caliber gun.
That shit was so gas.
As it shoots.
It was like it's a good ass move.
Stops right in front of the camera and then whips himself back in the tank to take out its high caliber gun. Peter lands on the hood of a BMW i5, another huge
yeah, sponsor. That nigga said, "Don't worry, Spider-Man, I got you." Nigga, if you don't fucking
product placement in this movie. There's a freaking billboard for it later. And the driver, listening to Whitney Houston's I'm Every Woman, switches it to sports mode to accelerate. I assume Sony and Marvel made BMW pay for the Whitney Houston needle drop to make this funnier. And I assume someone in the movie's ad sales department watching this video is like this.
Yep.
The tank plows through another cop car, sending it rolling toward this kid on a scooter.
You okay, kid?
Watch him say it. Watch him say it.
Yeah, you're okay. See you later.
Peter pats his helmet twice. I think it's a very deep cut reference to the first time Peter Parker technically appeared in the MCU as the kid in the Iron Man mask at the Stark Expo in Queens in Iron Man 2. Iron Man saved him in the final battle, but technically an earlier appearance than that, in like the second or third scene of the film, that same kid in the mask, at the time played by Jon Favreau's son Max, appears to Tony when he's pushing through the crowd. And after giving him an autograph, Tony pats his helmet the same way, twice.
What the fuck I just say? What did I just say? What did I just say? They're gonna come back once they make the live action Miles. They're gonna go back. Yeah, that was a reference to Miles. What did I just say? Come on now, stop fucking playing with me, nigga. I do this shit. Fuck out of here. I'm sorry, I got passionate.
Could this little kid on the scooter be our Miles Morales? I looked at the actor on Instagram. He's a stage dancer who was in a West End production of Oliver.
And what was that? No, hold on.
Be our Miles Morales? I looked at the actor on Instagram.
Come on now. What the fucking playing with me. Now, I can't guarantee you he's going to be Miles, but it's an homage to that. I'm telling you. I'm not fucking stupid. I know what I do.
Instagram, he's a stage dancer who was in a West End production of Oliver, just like Tom Holland's origin on the West End on Billy Elliot. I'm probably overthinking it, but kid, I hope I gave you some more Instagram followers. The tank charges toward a tour bus where the tour guide says, you wouldn't know it by looking at it, but this is the same street that was destroyed in the Battle of New York. Of course, referring to the 2012 Avengers film. This tour guide, though, was also played by Taria Peterside, who voiced Storm in the X-Men audio drama from 2015 to 2018. Peter webs the corner to swing and redirect the tank out of harm's way. His webbing breaks loose and he smacks into the window where this girl in a Jets shirt and headphones barely notices him. When the shot appeared in the trailer, a lot of us saw this girl's hair and immediately started screaming, it's Rogue! It's not Rogue, but Jean Grey shows up as randomly in this universe as this random extra does. Peter webs the wheel of the tank and reels himself into the back of it, and then his Spidey sense goes off. That chime you heard was the same sound of Peter's Peter tingle going off in No Way Home when he sensed Norman Osborn was about to betray him. That chime sound effect lasted over Peter walking around and past Otto and Norman, but here it's condensed as Peter just senses the grenade being launched from Frank. By the way, we also heard that chime the moment Peter dusted in Infinity War.
Oh, okay.
A process that was drawn out for Peter because he could sense it coming. The explosion knocks Peter off of the tank, and then he gets sideswiped by the battle van of Frank Castle, the Punisher. This is their first—
I fucking loved their dynamic, bro. I loved their whole dynamic throughout this whole movie. Real shit. It was great. It was fucking fantastic.
time seeing the battle van in live action.
I love him as Punisher. I'm deadass going to watch his series. He's great. And also, to my niggas that watched Odyssey, Tom Holland, Zendaya, and I can't think of his name right now. All three of them was in. They cooking right now. They on timing. All three of them niggas was in Odyssey and it also in fucking. Come on now.
Punisher had it in the comics since Giant-Size Spider-Man in number 4 in 1975. So really the van itself comes from Punisher crossing over with Spider-Man. The comedic timing of the shot recalls a similar shot where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gets sideswiped by an NYPD SUV in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's also a similar shot in Far From Home of Tom Holland, Peter Parker, in Berlin getting sideswiped by a bullet train. All three examples are really an homage to the iconic Buster Keaton stunt of how he just exits quickly out of frame. Now, there is actually an Easter egg here in the mural art in the movie version of this shot. You can see street art showing B. Rabbit. Yes, Eminem's character from 8 Mile,
really?
which is actually from the Salvador LaRocca variant cover of 2022's The Amazing Spider-Man #1, Legacy 895, that showed B. Rabbit in a rap battle with Spider-Man, with Daredevil and Miles in the crowd watching. This movie is surprisingly heavy on John Bernthal's Frank Castle, but back before both he and Tom Holland got cast in their Marvel roles, the actors recorded each other's audition tapes when they were shooting a movie in Ireland in spring 2015.
Tom made my first Punisher audition tape, and I made his Spider-Man audition tape.
And it was actually John Bernthal's idea for Holland to do a backflip to enter the scene, which Holland says got him the part and was the origin of the Spider-Man do a flip in Homecoming.
Do a flip! Yeah!
I covered Frank Castle's past in the MCU in our homework
That's
video,
actually
but
so
now
tough.
he's been generally—
That's actually so tough. How they helped each other. They recorded each other. That's so tough.
Holland got cast in their Marvel roles. The actors recorded each other's audition tapes when they were shooting a movie in Ireland in spring 2015.
Tom made my first Punisher audition tape, and I made his Spider-Man audition tape.
And it was actually John Bernthal's idea for Holland to do a backflip to enter the scene, which Holland says got him the part.
I also genuinely think that's what made their back and forth so good, is because they've known each other for so long. So it felt more natural and not forced.
And was the origin of the Spider-Man do a flip in Homecoming.
Do a flip! Yeah!
I covered Frank Castle's past in the MCU in our homework video, but now he's been generally in New York City, and he apparently met Spider-Man in a Staten Island incident where Peter saved him. Frank's windshield has a window built into it so that he can shoot weapons forward while he's driving. Presumably the rest of the glass is bulletproof, making it super impressive that Peter can kick it out later. And on Frank's dashboard, we can see some bolt cutters, a radio, and a whole bunch of unpaid parking tickets. Peter snatches and webs Frank's first grenade launcher, but this time Frank is ready for him with another one.
What do you think's downrange to that tank, dum-dum?
Peter gets launched back into the tank, where he webs the sides of the buildings to create a sling slingshot to propel himself back at Frank, smash through his windshield, and pull Frank out of the van. And Peter keeps things neighborhood friendly. I'm surprised we didn't get an F-bomb here. You're allowed one every PG-13 movie, but I guess the producers are realizing a lot of kids are seeing this movie. The tank heads into a damage control detention center where Matt Gargan is currently being transferred. The tank crashes through the wall, and Peter smartly swings in front of it and uses that same web to drag the people who are about to be crushed out of the way. Peter pries open the hatch to find this nice older woman inside. We later find out that she was a janitor working at the DODC warehouse in Brooklyn. So that Brooklyn break-in that Peter called DeWolf about earlier was probably connected to this. There are dozens of actors in this film who get to play one of the people possessed by Jean Grey, and of the ones who don't get lines, the credits call them the inhabited. I really love how much this film gives these day players moments to shine, and how well they all crush it, both as they embody Jean's personality.
They made it look so real. They genuinely made it look like it was traveling body to body. I fucked with that so hard. It was so good. It was so fucking good.
Much this film gives these day players moments to shine, and how well they all crush it, both as they embody Jean's personality and when they come to their senses, and in the physical choreography they all have to do to thrust their bodies in order to convey the transition. This choreography for The Inhabited was designed by Nathan Kim. Breaking into this facility to get Matt Gargan was all part of Jean's plan. She goes from the janitor to the DODC soldier and then to the agent upstairs. Cretton and Pollack do this awesome lateral tracking shot showing Jean's consciousness jumping among 4 inhabited victims as they force their way through the crowd. And on the last one in the hard hat, notice how Jean turns this guy around to smirk at Spider-Man, because she's not trying to blend in, because her goal is actually to get Spider-Man away from the tank so that the tank can explode without his spidey senses alerting himself to the explosives to stop it. We also get a little clue here of Jean's 33-foot range limit once this worker gets on the roof. Even after he sees the DODC soldier across the way, he still has to walk 10 to 15 feet closer before she would be in range to jump into the next guy. Jean nearly throws this soldier off of the roof. Lots of attempted murder by Jean Grey here, and completed murder in one case. Or maybe she just trusts that Spider-Man will save the guy. Jean tries to jump into Peter's mind, and we briefly see Peter's old bedroom with a bunk bed from Spider-Man Homecoming. The walls are bare in this version of the room, but the Mets pennant is still on the wall, and the fan is still in the corner. And on the floor is this brown paper bag. This is the bag that Tony Stark returned Peter's first generation Stark suit in, writing "This belongs to you, TS." So that would place this memory right after Aunt May walked in on Peter while he was wearing the suit and realized that her nephew was Spider-Man, the final shot of Homecoming. But Peter's able to force Jean out of his mind. In No Way Home, when Doctor Strange pushed him into the astral plane, Peter was able to use his spidey sense to control his body's motor functions, an ability that Doctor Strange had never seen before. The telepathy of mutants like Jean Grey and Charles Xavier does operate somewhat in the astral plane, so Peter can resist Jean here probably for the same reason. Jean, as this soldier, taunts, "What's in the tank?" And boom! Later, after Jean releases this guy, he says as he's loaded into the ambulance,
I love you, Spider-Man. Yeah, all right, buddy.
Peter takes the train out to
I never heard you, Spider-Man. Tell Spider-Man I love him.
3250 Brighton Beach in the Coney Island area, which turns out is a Russian bathhouse used by Yelena Belova.
Bro, this scene fucking fried me, bro. Oh my God, this scene fried me. It was good. It was so good. She had great cameos. She had great cameos in this. Little Potato.
Florence Pugh as her office. Yes, every Sony Marvel Spider-Man movie does have at least one cameo from the MCU. This one got a whole bunch. So this would be after the events of Thunderbolts, when Yelena Belova is now part of the new Avengers, struggling to get the public to take them seriously. And I assume Yelena uses this Russian bathhouse instead of the new Avengers tower, just because she doesn't trust Val. Yelena makes Peter strip down and join her in the bath to make sure that he doesn't have any weapons.
Shout out my dog Tom, bro. This nigga is cooking right now, bro. This man's a monster right now. Nigga is built. That nigga is stacked right now. Good Lord.
On him. He of course leaves his mask on, and she asks about a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something else, mentioning that there's lots of conjecture online and super graphic artwork, specifically one involving Mysterio. While Team Mysterio outing Spider-Man as Peter Parker was erased in the memory wipe spell, the part of Mysterio's posthumous disclosure that blamed the attacks on Spider-Man, a masked Spider-Man, would still be out there in this history. And it follows that there would then be conspiracy theories and I guess graphic fan art and fan fiction about how Spider-Man and Mysterio actually were lovers. Yeah, there would just be a lot of confusion there that a lot of creative artists out there would try to make sense of. Yelena says that Peter's investigation of the DODC is small potato stuff, whereas the new Avengers focus on big potato stuff. Yeah, we're about to see a hell of a big potato in the form of 2 or 3 other Earths in nearby space when these incursions and Doctor Doom arrive in Doomsday. Peter asks Yelena if what he saw with the DODC workers was the same kind of mind control that Yelena and the other Black Widow agents experienced. He's referring to the events of the 2021 Black Widow film, when Yelena was one of the first Widow agents who inhaled an antidote that freed her from General Dracov's mind control that all Widow agents from the Red Room operated under. Yelena says this is not that same mind control, but rather a type of possession, the kind that you'd see from a ghost or a demon or a figure from Russian folklore. And she says that after 4 attacks on DODC sites, there was a cybersecurity attack looking for something called VMAX. So why doesn't Peter go to the Sanctum Sanctorum after this to talk to Wong and Strange about what kind of ghostly possession this could be? Well, because he went there in the last movie. But also it seems like he just trusts the DODC too much and just wants to ask them personally because he thinks
Genuinely, yeah, I feel like he definitely did have too much trust in them. I'm not gonna lie.
he can get to the answer sooner. He shouldn't trust them
VMAX was so sad. It was so sad. I'm like, so what the fuck is VMAX?
because the moment he arrives, they make him go through this full body scanner at gunpoint. There's a lot of interesting text that shows up on this scanner.
Bro, and then they had the audacity to tell the nigga to take off his mask. Are you high?
If you look closely, on the lower
That's the whole point, dumbass.
left by his hand, the screen reads H-EN and enhanced human or human enhanced. On the upper right by his head, the screen reads radiation detection. It's looking for gamma radiation, like what Hulk and She-Hulk have in their blood, or the cosmic radiation given off by figures like Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan, and Wanda Maximoff. Technically, the spider that bit Peter was supposed to have a kind of radiation that resulted in his powers. And then on this close-up of the screen, we see Operator Agent Ramirez, priority elevated, and in the upper right, we see subject designation Vigil 09, identified enhanced operative, threat level, agility enhanced, non-lethal profile, last known activity, urban traversal via synthetic filament, visual lock acquired, confidence 92%. I guess that other 8% would be him taking off his mask. And then beneath that, a rundown of Peter's abilities and
superior strength, superior agility, heightened senses, enhanced bro, the fact of the matter is that they had weapons for this nigga. Bro, like, I get what you're trying to do, but like, there's a way to go about it. Like, there was no, like, I want to say genuine evil in this movie. I get both sides. Like, yeah, she was doing what she needed to do to find her sister, but they were also doing what they needed to do to, you know what I'm saying, it's the damage. They got to damage control, bro. They got to do damage control, so they got to figure out what people can do. And, like, yeah, they didn't need to do what they did, but they're also needed, if that makes sense.
their classes, according to the DODC. You can see superior strength, muscle fiber density, 12,500 PSI tensile strength, enhanced class B, superior agility, neural response time, 0.02 seconds, reflexive overdrive class C, heightened senses, ocular enhancement, 360-degree peripheral awareness, augmented class A, enhanced perception, ocular enhancement, peripheral awareness, and then again, augmented class A. So this is huge. We are seeing how the DODC has already come up with various categories and classes of enhanced individuals and their abilities. The DODC was already hunting enhanced persons in the Ms. Marvel series, which included the clandestines from the Noor Dimension and the Jersey City girl Kamala Khan, whom we now know has a genetic mutant status. And in Wonder Man, the DODC was processing violators of the Doorman clause in Hollywood, which included Simon Williams, who in that series was mysteriously born with the powers that he had. Peter meets a new director of the DODC, William Bill Metzger, played by Tremel Tillman, who is an incredible actor from Severance. In the comics, William Metzger is a militant anti-mutant leader and propagandist. Giving a suited government authority this name tells us that Marvel Studios plans to use him and the DODC in their future as a mutant hunting agency. Metzger in this scene really lays out all the reasons the DODC are the true villains of this movie. He shows Spider-Man the hand ninjas and says that they were just a group of kids without a leader, and he saw opportunity in...
These niggas are genuinely like, what's homie's name in Invincible? When he should have killed Conquest, instead of killing Conquest, he tried to fucking save the nigga so he could... Cecil, there it is. I be forgetting names, but y'all get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they're the villains, but there was like no true genuine evil. It's like, you can understand why they make the decisions they do, but they make dumbass decisions. Like, there's just no genuine evil character. Like, that nigga Green Goblin, that nigga's just genuinely evil. There's nothing to it. That nigga's just evil. But like, the evil in this movie, not saying to do it, not saying it's right, but I don't agree with it, but I understand why they did it. You know what I'm saying? To try to get ahead. You feel me? Like, to try to do damage control. And also, she did what she did to save her sister. So it's like, you gotta use your doula glada, chat.
Redirecting the threat that they brought? Similarly, we see the scientists and engineers of the DODC messing with Shocker's gauntlets from Homecoming, as Metzger talks about the tech being in the right hands. Selfishly, he just wants these super abilities in his own hands to beat up mutants. I like the detail where Metzger looks a little suspicious when he confirms that this telepath could not jump into Spider-Man's mind. That's because he's secretly working on a way to replicate that telepathy artificially, and he's realizing right now that they'll never be able to use it to control Spider-Man someday. Metzger won't tell Spider-Man what's in the vault or what VMAX is. In truth, Metzger doesn't know what VMAX is. It's really a red herring clue in this movie, making us think it's going to be a mutant curbing toxin or something like that, when really it's just something personal between Sarah and Jean. Peter spots Ned in the bodega, where Ned buys a keg and energy drinks he's addicted to, Sharkfire. We hear Tame Impala's Loser as Peter follows Ned into his house party. In Ned's room, Peter finds a Chewbacca Lego minifig that's also part of that Death Star set, and Ned's huge Spider-Man research wall. So many fun details here. There's references to Peter's appearances in Europe from Spider-Man Far From Home, Venice, Prague, Berlin, London, and his appearance in Berlin in Captain America Civil War, and
Yeah, and how many times he saved them.
speculation, is he British? Which of course Tom Holland is. The German newspaper to the right is a photo of Peter crouched on a truck at the Berlin airport tarmac from the Civil War battle, with the caption translating from German to a photo from a surveillance camera of Tony Stark's newest recruit. Much of the German text is cut off, but what I can make out is a mention of the Avengers in the column to the left, and the text above the photo translates to showing how he, in a fierce fight with Captain America, tests himself. That German reporter probably saw the moments Peter whipped Captain America's shield, and later in the battle, when the hero from Brooklyn left the hero from Queens pinned under the heavy collapsing jetway, but made sure the kid was okay to eventually lift it on his own.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
And again, these news articles would still exist despite Doctor Strange's memory wipe spell, which did warp physical media because none of those reports showed who Peter Parker was under the mask. There's also an article behind the clipping of Peter at the airport battle that's actually in Czech, suggesting this would be an article from one of the Prague reporters reacting to the fire elemental attack in Spider-Man Far From Home and the Night Monkey. Specifically, we see the name Mysterio in phrases translating to in combat gear and the characteristic round helmets of, and then energy disruptions utilizing as nuclear. It sounds like this Prague reporter was describing the Mysterio fishbowl helmet, and they're worried the fire elemental attack, which were really the drones faking that illusion, were powered by nuclear technology. We also see a newspaper clipping mentioning adrenaline junkie Ewan Hendry being arrested for scaling a skyscraper for the 8th time. Ewan Hendry is a set decorator who worked on this film. Ha, you made yourself an Easter egg, Ewan. We also see how Ned realized that Peter's shoe size is 9.5. Okay. Then this article reads, Spider-Man unmasked. Could this Latino parkour prodigy be the web slinger? 10 years ago, Carlos Rodriguez was a viral sensation with his impressive parkour videos until he mysteriously stopped uploading. Could it be that he picked up a new identity? Ironically, the word parkour actually gets pretty close to the real identity of Spider-Man. And then another note breaks down known characteristics. Gender, male, age 18 to 25, ethnicity, white, first appeared 2016, Queen's accent. Yes, 2016 would have been the first year Peter Parker appeared via his YouTube videos. And Queen's accent, love this. Tom Holland was the first Spider-Man to really hone in on a specific Queen's accent, and it's part of how his normal English accent has disappeared into the character. With this movie, you can really hear how Holland perfected it and amped it up, as he would have spent 4 additional years as a New Yorker. Holland recently joked with Amy Poehler on the Good Hank podcast about how English actors often are the worst at doing American accents because many of them don't super focus on one specific regional dialect.
The Brits are not always the best at American accents.
That is true.
I think conversely, like with Brits, when they do American accents, the one thing that they do is they kind of always turn into this kind of talking.
Right.
Like it's just very, because they want to make sure that they're rounding out their consonants.
There's lots of long R's.
Yeah.
And the next shot is a photo with Ned's estimated height of Spider-Man at 5'7.5". Tom Holland is 5'8". So again, they're digging him by rounding down half an inch. And then there's a photo of this guy taking a selfie labeled not him. I was wondering if this could be a photo of Tom Holland's real life brother, Harry Holland. Harry did work as Tom's assistant in some of the earlier movies and cameoed in a deleted scene in No Way Home as a bike thief in a scene where Peter got green paint thrown on him. Harry Holland also played one of the Deadpool variants in Deadpool and Wolverine. Ned tells Peter that Spider-Man saved him and his friends' lives 3 times in high school. Wouldn't it have been more than 3? Well, think about it from Ned's perspective. He would have remembered Spider-Man saving him at the Washington Monument, that's one, and then only once in Europe, in London, because to Ned, in Venice, it was Mysterio and some random guy in a Commedia dell'arte mask, and then in Prague, it was Mysterio and the Night Monkey, and then the 3rd time would be at the Statue of Liberty. So Ned probably also feels bad that Spider-Man took the rap for the London attacks and wants to thank him personally. Ned shows Peter the app he created, Spidey Tracker. Yes, a big part of the marketing and something that plays a big role in the post-credit scene. I love that Ned even created this because it's also kind of an organized version of what Tony Stark did in order to initially track down Peter Parker, log all of his sightings from social media, and then narrow down which kid from Queens it would have to be. Ned shows his 2 prime suspects, Eugene Flash Thompson. This is his cover photograph for the Flashpoint book from No Way Home, and I guess a yearbook photo of Roger Harrington. Yes, their science teacher at Midtown High, played by Martin Starr. And if you think about it, technically Roger Harrington is the same guy who was at Culver University in the 2008 Hulk film, so I love how Ned might have tracked that down and said, wow, this guy was part of Avenger events since the beginning. And again, I love that Ned would have had to assume assume that it would have to be someone who was with them both on their trip to DC and their trip to Europe.
True,
To the left of these is a photo of Peter's hands labeled slightly small, another dig to, I guess, Peter's physical attributes. MJ walks in and she's wearing the broken Black Dahlia necklace that Peter bought for her in Venice, given to her via Happy Hogan in Far From Home, where it was then broken. But MJ liked that it was broken, and she continued to wear the same necklace in the donut shop at the end of No Way Home, even after the memory wipe spell, which was a sign that part of her still remembers Peter, and that part of her is still alive now. MJ notices the flowers that Peter initially bought for Aunt May, which Peter now says is a housewarming gift, and it's why Peter improvises his name being Maynard, a neighbor across the hall, he says.
Oh, Maynard. I was trying to figure out why he said that was his name. Okay.
I'm just a neighbor from across the hall.
Friendly neighbor.
Without realizing it, MJ works in Spider-Man's friendly neighborhood moniker. In the kitchen, we see Ned's mini keg was for Green Jackal beer. This is not a real brand, so some have interpreted this as a reference to Spidey villain the Jackal, aka Dr. Miles Warren, who is green, but he's not in this movie. We learn that MJ was offered a job for some soulless corporation that she turned down, even though it had health insurance, leading to this solid joke where she's like, yes, but at what cost? And Ned's like, depends on what your deductible is. Then the boyfriend, never named, played by Imanis Fondi, brings in a pack of Ramune. This is a Japanese carbonated lemonade. Already this handsome face.
Fuck this nigga, bro. Oh God. Why would you date her even though she's single? Like, she's not that single, my nigga. She not that single, bruh. Chill on her, bruh. Now, if she was to date me, it'd be fine. Like, you know, Tom, I'll hold it down for you. I got this. But she's really not that single, bro. She just don't remember, bro. Chill, bro. Chill, bro. Chill. She not that single, bro. It's either me or Tom. Like, get in line, bro. Get in line, bro. Me first, Tom next, and then you. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. It ain't even his fault. He should have known.
Is sliding into the trio into the same role Peter had, and when he plants one on MJ, Peter knows he has been replaced by Ezra Bridger and his beautiful blue eyes. Peter swings through the rain, recalling the much shorter kiss MJ gave him on Tower Bridge and Far From Home, and then the moment the three of them were on the rooftop and
Damn, my dog was swinging in the middle of night, just free falling. No suit, no mask, free falling. Didn't give a fuck.
the much shorter kiss MJ gave him on Tower Bridge and Far From Home, and then the moment the three of them were on the rooftop in No Way Home dreaming of a fresh start at MIT, then the moment he said goodbye to MJ, and when he nearly told MJ the truth at the donut shop. Back at home, a very drippy Peter sees his reflection in the monitor, showing his eyes all black.
Yep.
He collapses, much like Tobey Maguire's Peter collapsing in a cold sweat in the 2002 film. Now we see the memory that Jean nearly hacked into, sometime after Aunt May caught Peter wearing his Spider-Man suit in his bedroom. I like how in this memory scene, they seem to make up Marissa Tomei and Tom Holland to appear younger, kind of like they looked in Homecoming, and Tom Holland in particular speaks in a higher register and a slightly less pronounced Queen's accent. The next morning, Peter wakes up in a cocoon, suspended outside, mostly naked in this alley. An outside corner like this would be where a spider would naturally find a safe spot. Peter pushes his way out and falls before catching himself with his organic webbing coming out of his wrist. I love how grossed out Peter is at first, trying to wipe it away before he falls to the ground. So here it is, organic webbing in the MCU. Originally in the comics, Peter Parker has always used mechanical web shooters. The whole concept of organic webbing coming out of your own skin came from a very early idea for a Spider-Man movie in the late 80s, when it was conceived as more of a body horror film akin to The Fly. When James Cameron took on the project, he kept a lot of those elements and specifically conceived of organic webbing coming out of the wrists in an extended scriptment that he wrote when he was imagining Leonardo DiCaprio for the role of Peter Parker. But then when the rights to the film were in dispute in the late 90s, they eventually landed at Columbia and Sony, and Jurassic Park writer David Koepp took on the script, and he kept James Cameron's idea of organic webbing, which is how Sam Raimi included the idea in his 2002 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film. For a whole generation of fans, that movie was their entry point to the lore of Spider-Man, which is why when the Andrew Garfield films came about, there was a sense of relief among comic readers that they got the mechanical web shooters back in. But this movie, Brand New Day, is suggesting that organic webbing is the next natural stage of Peter Parker's evolution, as his arachnid DNA is taking over, coming about from him spending less time with other humans that he was once close with. The implication being the more
the lonelier he gets, the more arachnid he becomes.
lonely Peter is, the fewer people he allows in his life to ground him in humanity, the more his arachnid DNA says, okay, my turn then. I think it also didn't hurt that this Peter gained some core memories with Peter 2, Tobey Maguire's Peter, who has organic webbing, and arguably taught our Peter the most vital lessons in No Way Home. Peter crawls into the laundry room and grabs some
This shit fucking fried me. She said, is that my shirt? No. No.
random clothes and takes the elevator, including this black tank and juicy couture of his blonde neighbor that he ran into earlier, now with her boyfriend and a very unfriendly dog. Peter finds webbing all over his apartment. His artificial webbing is designed to dissolve after a certain amount of time.
Hey, that's gonna dissolve in 2 hours.
No. Come fix this.
Not this stuff. EV explains that his arachnid DNA has spiked hormones that produce silk glands and spinnerets in his wrists. He tests his mechanical web shooters, but instinctively his glands feel the need to emit as well, so they blast off the mechanical ones, sticking them to the fridge. Peter goes out on the rooftop and goes into sensory overload, where we see a single drop of water exploding into the bucket, and we hear a chip bag dragging across the rooftop, and pigeons deafening. It's quite like Sam Raimi's sequence in the 2002 film when Peter oversenses the fly and the spitball and the monstrous Joe Manganiello's fist coming at him. Peter actually references this directly by recalling that Peter too had organic webs, something that completely shocked and grossed out the other two Peters when he whipped from his wrists in No Way Home. And like Toby's Peter, we get this little sequence where our Peter tries to command his web here on the rooftop, but fails, like Toby Peter's rooftop trials in the 2002 film. But now when Peter shouts web, all of his organic webbing sprays out like a fire hose. And then after it seems to run out, there's one last little spurt. Bad Bunny's AO plays as...
I also feel like, I do feel like the sound, the songs, they could have picked better songs. I'm not gonna lie. So the songs were a little lackluster, but the Bad Bunny, it was, you know what I'm saying? We should have got more hype songs, you know what I'm saying?
Peter chaotically smashes into a water tower and then slides across another rooftop and sticks to these pigeons. I mean, all I can really see with the purple clouds of the sky and the way the sun is shining through them, just great coloring throughout all of this. But unfortunately, in all of the wide shots of Manhattan in this movie, whenever we see JP Morgan Chase Tower, we do not see the new Avengers Tower next to it, as it appears in the recent Doomsday trailer. It's not in this movie, and it's really frustrating. Jean, controlling Scorpion, seeks the VMAX in the DODC data center. Peter swings into this area screaming, smashing through 3 signs: Bob's Hotel, then this taqueria sign, and then Jen's Pizza. I love the depth of this shot. There's 3 objects of varying distance from camera getting knocked before a quick camera pan and Peter crashing practically in the foreground. Jean-controlled Scorpion attacks, smartly using Scorpion's stinger to drag his body to a halt. Peter's headache worsens and Jean/Scorpion sticks the stinger right in his face, and now Peter's arachnid DNA takes over and Peter goes into instant kill mode, grabbing Scorpion.
Bro, this shit was... Once that switch flipped, I was like, oh, this is a whole new nigga. Who's this? I was like, yo.
By his tail and smashing his body on a cop car and then ripping off that tail and completely beating him with it. DeWolf arrives and tells Spider-Man that he almost killed that cop, and Peter seems particularly terrified by this, fueling my theory that one or both of Peter's parents were first responders who died during 9/11, since he was born 1 month before those attacks, and something must have happened to his parents for him to have to grow up with Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Peter goes to the campus of Empire State University. Empire State is a college that Peter attends in the comics and various other media. It's where he meets Gwen Stacy. Now, Peter doesn't actually attend this college as a student in this film. He just kind of goes on campus wearing an ESU sweatshirt. Bruce Banner is now a professor here. He previously appeared in the form of a
My goat.
photo among noteworthy scientists in Peter Parker's high school classroom in Homecoming. Banner lectures about lattice quantum chronodynamics. This is a branch of theoretical physics that describes the changes of subatomic particles like quarks and the gluons that hold them together, as well as the whole universe. Banner says, we can arrange time and space in a grid. Time and space in a grid? That kind of sounds like the way Dr. Doom and Reed Richards are going to science their way through universes in Doomsday. And ironically, time and space were the 2 Infinity Stones that Bruce Banner was most consequential with before he snapped all 6 stones together in Endgame. The Time Stone when he got it from the Ancient One, and the Space Stone when his variant from 2012 knocked the Tesseract, sending it to Loki's feet. Without him doing that, we would never have Loki variant L1130 and the whole Loki series and how important the character is going to be in Avengers Doomsday. A girl named Cindy raises her hand. I assume this is Cindy Moon, though here she's played by Shannon Young Cho, and in Spider-Man Homecoming and Infinity, I assume this is Cindy Moon, though here she's played by Shannon Young Cho, and in Spider-Man Homecoming and Infinity War, that Cindy was played by Tiffany Espenson. But this Cindy asks, if Thanos was worried about overpopulation, why didn't he just use the magic glove to make more food? A valid question that channels like ours have touched on over the past 8 years. We've actually made lots of videos about what Thanos was cooking. But Banner answers the question by throwing to this Hulk fanboy Arthur, who just stands and screams, Hulk smash, and the classroom cheers. But in a way, this is really the best answer to that question, because really the logic wasn't that great behind what Thanos did. He was just kind of a dogmatic monk at the end of his life who had tried everything else. Sometimes big dudes just get so angry that they stop seeing logical solutions to things and just give into their rage to smash shit. And sometimes what gets smashed is half of all life. After the class, Peter asks Banner about his inhibitor device. Banner had earlier models of this wrist device in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, and in She-Hulk, it's a device that keeps him in a human form instead of his smart Hulk form that he created in the Gamma Lab in Avengers Endgame. And if you look closely at this device, you can barely make out the serial number of ASM-14. This is a reference to Amazing Spider-Man Spider-Man number 14 from 1964, the first comic issue where Hulk crosses over with Spider-Man. Peter tells Banner that his name is Ned Leeds, and I wondered why not just use his real name of Peter Parker here? Well, maybe Peter is worried that Banner's Hulk identity, the Savage Hulk, will remember the name Peter Parker and start freaking.
Because he genuinely did. No. He genuinely did. Hulk remembered. Oh, shit. That makes so much sense. Okay. But how? I don't know. But he was like, it's me. It's me. It's Peter. Hulk remembered.
Freaking out. We have made some videos explaining whether Banner's Savage Hulk identity knows who Peter Parker or
He never saw Peter? Well, he remembered.
Spider-Man are. In Thor Ragnarok, Bruce experienced a total blackout for the 2 years Hulk was at the wheel, but Infinity War, the two identities seemed to be able to converse with each other and hear each other. And it was in the second of those movies where Bruce learned this.
There's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man?
There's actually a moment later on in this movie where Savage Hulk does seem to remember Peter Parker, and that's what saves Peter. But here,
See? He genuinely remembered.
Peter asks Banner that since he can diffuse the gamma radiation emitted by his DNA with this device, then theoretically would it be possible to target specific mRNA transcriptors and turn those genetic expressions on or off with a similar device? Peter starts running away with his thinking and dreaming of a device that could automatically suppress any genetic mutation, and Banner cautions him that such a universal inhibitor could control anyone with any powers. So
it was an homage to, yo, are you sure you want to do this? How do you know what's the good and bad mutations?
This is crazy, but basically in this movie, Peter Parker invents a prototype for a mutant inhibitor device. Yes, the kind of device used in the collars that we often see in X-Men stories, and the kind of device that anti-mutant groups in the future mutant saga, like the Friends of Humanity, or the forces of Henry Peter Gyrick and William Stryker, or the Sentinel technology of Bolivar Trask, will all use as part of their armory. It is wild that the MCU made Peter Parker the J. Robert Oppenheimer of the mutant saga, and by extension, Bruce Banner is kind of the Albert Einstein who warned Oppie, which makes it fitting that Bruce Banner's photo was next to Albert Einstein's in that classroom. Banner says, how would you decide what parts of nature are good or bad? What if you're trying to control the expression of something that needs to be expressed? Yes, it's a deep question for Peter in this movie, but it's also an existential thematic question for the whole mutant saga that will soon begin in the MCU. Should a sudden influx of enhanced mutants, amounting to 0.5% of the population, be controlled? Or should it be allowed to express itself? And who makes that decision? Peter wears a Delmar's Deli shirt as he builds an inhibitor chip, listening to nothing Professor Banner warned him about. Delmar's was the deli and bodega in Queens from the earlier 3 films. We actually have this shirt at our merch store, nerdright.shop, along with a new Spidey tracker design and Peter's The Physics Are Theoretical shirt. Peter listens to a YouTube video in the background where we hear Keith David's narration from the trailer about spiders. Interestingly, in the trailer, Keith David said, spiders have 3 life cycles, but here the audio changes the wording so that we hear him say, spiders have 3 stages in their life cycle. It's slightly more correct, but as I pointed out when we heard this line in the March trailer, it's still not totally accurate because spiders are arachnids, they're not insects. Spiders do not go through stages of life the way insects do. Spiders just kind of hatch out of eggs and look kind of like they do for the rest of their lives. They just molt as they grow larger and larger. But that molting is not a distinct stage. I also just think it's odd for the great Keith David to narrate this small moment of the movie. I wonder if it was going to be a larger part of the film, but due to the inaccurate biological phrasing, they just removed it. Because similarly, there was a scene that was featured a lot in the marketing of the film where Peter would have demonstrated a vaccination for kids where a girl brought up this same spider life cycles line again.
Do you know the one thing he is never scared of? Needles.
What the?
It's probably spider puberty.
Hey, come on!
Spiders have 3 life cycles. Have you shut up your old skin yet?
Yeah, this scene was completely removed from the movie, just making it very weird that Sony kept it in the marketing as late as June. Peter's 4th model inhibitor chip works on his own arachnid DNA, so he takes it for a spin outside. In the alleyway, there is a campaign poster on a dumpster for Wilson Fisk, making NYC safe. Now, some have believed that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin could never appear in a live-action Spider-Man movie due to rights issues, but Kevin Feige recently clarified this.
Did you ever go down the road of Daredevil, Kingpin? From what like Vincent has said, there's some rights issues on the Kingpin side.
Right.
They're not. I mean, they're things to navigate like everything else. But we talked about all those characters.
We had Daredevil in our movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But as soon as Peter uses his new heads-up display, that signal interferes with his inhibitor and he gets sensory overload again and accidentally drops some web grenades and boom. I love that we see these explode from outside the alleyway.
I didn't even realize it exploded when he uses his. I thought it just overloaded. I genuinely thought it just overloaded. I didn't even realize that it was because he used his goggles.
Physical comedy perspective, it's kind of the opposite of Peter suddenly getting swiped out of the frame by the battle van. Here he gets blown into frame. Jean's next inhabited victim was standing right there on the moment of explosion, so she must have been stalking Peter.
Yo, Spider-Man, you okay?
You get rid of that monster inside you?
Nee Akin plays David, and I think they just named this guy David in the credits so that people weren't like, oh, is this guy's name Miles Morales? Jean reveals that she knows he's Peter Parker and that she's currently in his apartment. As Jean holds the letter, her inhabited victim David also pantomimes holding the letter, leading to a pretty hilarious rule for Jean's possession in this movie. Like, to make certain gestures as the possessed body, does Jean have to physically do those herself wherever she is? Kind of seems like she does. And while she gestures while linked with another body, does that person always—
I genuinely also, me and True had talked about this. Why in the movie did they hide her identity for so long? They hid that she was Sadie Sink for us from so long. I don't think that, like, I get hiding it in the trailers, but you don't need to do that in the movie itself. Like, there was no reason to hide it.
mirror the gestures? Like when her older sister Sarah demonstrated it with a woman waving in the park. Sarah wasn't waving, but Abby pointed out that maybe when MJ kisses Peter on the rooftop later, Jean was somewhere else kissing the air. That's just very funny to me. Like, now Jean jumps into a businessman and then this woman and then into this poor street worker played by Judd Charlton, whom Jean walks into the street to get wrecked.
I thought this, yeah, he definitely died. But I definitely thought this was going to be something else. I didn't know it was going to be this minuscule. Like, the way that they framed this, like, it was this big part of the movie. Like, it was a big part. Yeah, this nigga's dead. There's no way he's not dead. But, like, I would have thought this would have been a bigger part of the movie. But it's just somebody dying.
By a taxi. No way this dude survived this Meet Joe Black death. Jean Grey straight up murdered this guy. I don't know, maybe she learned something about this guy when she went into his mind. I mean, that's the only justification I could think of. But even in that scenario, just kind of flag him and then circle back to him later and make him turn himself into the cops with evidence of whatever he did. Like, doing what Jean did also kind of ruins the taxi driver's day. Peter chases Jean through the bodies of the inhabited into this wedding. And I love the way he crashes into the 4-tier wedding cake. The top layer just kind of neatly drops and mostly stays intact in case the bride and groom want to save it for that 1-year anniversary. This bride and groom are named Lucy and John. Actually, when their names show up on the helicopter in trailers, some comic fans noted that there is a Lucy and John Riker from the Incredible Hulk's comic run of the aughts by Paul Jenkins and Ron Garney, where Lucy Riker is someone dying of cancer and she gets injected with Hulk blood, making her a disfigured gamma being. I don't know. I don't think that's this couple. Evie measures the distance between the jumps and comes up with a maximum limit of 33 feet. Now, Peter doesn't know in this moment if that's the actual precise limit, because that would just be anecdotally the maximum that Peter and Evie saw while Jean was jumping in this chase. Like later in the DODC, they confirm a radius of 40 feet. So I'm guessing it's actually a bit further. Also, we learn that Jean can just sever whatever dead-end link that she has.
So how the fuck did she... Oh, she severed the link so she couldn't jump, but she could still jump into other people. And make it there. Yeah, she should have
To just start over with someone closer to her. So it's not like she was trapped in this helicopter with this guy forever. When I first watched this movie, I was as convinced as Peter that he just came up with a really great plan. But when I watched it a second time, I was like, why would he?
Yeah, I was like, damn. When she got into MJ, I was like, damn, how the fuck did she do that? I thought she was trapped. But I forgot she could just sever the link and then start a new one.
Assume that would work. In MJ's bedroom, notice there are photos of just Ned and MJ, no Peter, from how they looked in No Way Home. Spider-Man comes in and quickly explains that MJ's in danger and she needs to come with him, and MJ quickly agrees to come. A little too quickly, because I think at this point, Jean has already gotten into MJ, because as they're swinging, they never see.
Yeah, she was never scared of the swinging, and she also said she only remembers being in her what's name and then straight onto the falling. So she was taken over there.
Seem to be within 40 feet of anyone else. Zendaya plays this rooftop scene so well, because on one level, she's giving us the astonished MJ realizing that they must have known each other.
That shit was, oh my God. Oh my God, this shit was so heartbreaking, bro. I ain't gonna, yo, this was the evilest shit, bro. Oh my God, the realization, I felt terrible. I was like, no. I was like, bro, oh, she remembers. And then when it flash cut to her face, I looked to Erin, I'm like, that's not her. I was like, no. Oh my God. Jean, when I catch you on, God.
Also, the actress gives us enough to suspect something is off about her. She's just a little too doe-eyed in this realization. It's like Jean Grey is doing a theater girl audition of someone realizing something. If it were just MJ figuring something out, her realizations always come with a bit of sarcasm and a little paranoia. None of that is here. But possessed MJ here recalls the Washington Monument, London, and Prague. She does not bring up the Liberty Island scaffolding incident, maybe because Jean doesn't want to alert Peter's spidey sense that he might have to go jumping after MJ in a moment. Jean, as MJ peels up Peter's mask above his mouth, just like Kirsten Dunst married Jane did when that Peter was upside down in the 2002 film. But this loving kiss is followed by the complete unmasking and tearful hug, followed by this gut punch as Jean now says, "Go ahead, Peter. Touch her."
Jean would have had to see me on everything. Cause real shit. No, real shit, Chad. No, real shit. You would have had to see me, bro. Real stuff. Hands, I unload the clip, bro. For real.
You've been wanting to do this for so long. Damn! Zendaya really knows how to drop a, "Hey Cass, how long have you been fucking Nate Jacobs?" This scene really had all of us fooled. Jean as MJ mocks us, the audience. True love's kiss breaks the spell and reunites the star-crossed lovers. Yeah, I kind of thought it would for a second.
Bro, I was a little hopeful, bitch. Bitch, I was hopeful a little bit. Piss me clean the fuck off, yo. When I was so upset, like, let me dream. Let me think that he's getting his bitch back or something, bro.
And notice how Michael Giacchino's music here is exactly what we hear in the previous great twist of this franchise when Peter's in the car with Liz's dad revealed to be Vulture. In that scene, John Watts used the shifting traffic lights on Michael Keaton's face to convey his villainy. Here, Destin Daniel Cretton has Zendaya step back to let the neon red glow on her face. Peter's right. What Jean is doing here is monstrous. To control a woman's body without her consent and make her kiss another person is a form of assault, Jean, on both MJ and Peter.
True.
Is Jean too evil in this movie? We're going to talk about that in our sneak peek podcast episode coming Sunday. They shot this on the rooftop of the real-life Silver Cup Studios, the New York area production facility where many interior scenes of Daredevil Born Again were shot. Peter's arachnid rage emerges and he suspends Jean-controlled MJ over the ledge, just like Tombstone did to...
I'm not gonna lie, though. I'm not gonna lie. It would have been a fire. It would have been fire. It would have been fire. Fire. Listen to me. Fire. If she would have relinquished control right there. Instead of falling, if she would have relinquished control right there, oh my God. That would have been so insane. Because not only is she seeing who Spider-Man is, she's like the misunderstanding would have been insane. That would have been so evil. The falling, yeah, we knew. I don't think they would have let her die. But like right there, full chokehold, over the edge, no masked Peter. Oh my, bro, that would have been insane. Why are you coaching her? My bad, twin. Am I a little too evil? Am I buggy? I'm sorry. That's on me. That's my bad. That's my bad. But it would have been good, though. You feel me? Sorry.
Him earlier in the movie. And remember how Tombstone asked how long it would take for Spidey to hit the ground? Now Peter's gonna have to do some of that mental math to answer that question. I mean, it's not that hard. It's 9.8 meters per second squared times the height of the building. I'm sure Peter has gotten that figured out. Jean kicks MJ off of Peter and lets her drop.
Lord. Good. This motherfucker face card so crazy. So crazy. Like, look at this. Look at this. Oh, God, I'm so jealous of Tom Holland. You got it, bro. You won, bro. Look at me. I'm fucking Spider-Man. I'm married to fucking Zendaya. Just look at me. Fuck off. You don't even know the song Replay, nigga, like I do. You don't even know. Wanna put this song on. Don't piss me off. I'm sorry. Let me calm down. I'm calm. I'm relaxed. I'm Damn, Simba chill. Nah, cause I've been wanting this since just stop talking to me, bruh. Stop talking to me, bruh. I could have sworn this was gonna be my shit, bruh. Real, so you couldn't tell me otherwise, especially as a young growing teen that this, I like, bro, you couldn't tell me this wasn't gonna be my, look at this fucking screenshot. Since I was a jit, nigga. Come on, look at this, look at, don't piss me off, nigga.
And I love this transition. Just as the red light leaves Zendaya's face, representing Jean leaving her body, that's when MJ's panic sets in. We get this slow motion lateral shot of Peter diving after MJ, just as he did in No Way Home before Goblin swiped him away and Andrew Garfield had to go after her to redeem him, failing to save his Gwen. I will always love how much they want to milk this kind of shot. It looks awesome. I also love how our Peter learned from that, and he knows he has to grab the person he's saving and not just whip her so that he can absorb the impact of whatever hit they're gonna have on the landing. Peter takes MJ to Frank Castle's booby-trapped boat warehouse. Frank lives on a boat called Golden Girl, which is a nod to Jerry Conway's spectacular Spider-Man number 141 from 1976, the first time Spider-Man and Punisher team up against Tombstone. Punisher in that issue uses a boat called Golden Girl as his hideout. MJ finds all of Frank's memorabilia of his wife Maria, his daughter Lisa, and his son Frank Jr. Also, it looks like a stuffed bear. And Peter uses his facial scans of this mystery telepath to learn her name is Jean Elaine Grey. So yes, after months of speculation, it's now confirmed that Sadie Sink is playing the mutant and future member of the X-Men, Jean Grey, the third actress to play her in live action after Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner. She's the first official member of the new cast of the X-Men introduced in the MCU.
Fire.
We gotta do another video just going back through every interview and media appearance Sadie Sink made.
Fire. Great casting. 10 out of 10, no notes. This bitch real life evil. I wanted her head, I ain't gonna lie. I wanted, fine. Nah, 10 out of 10, no notes though. Great casting, great casting.
Denying or just not answering the question that she was Jean Grey. Recently, Ryan Reynolds appeared in Hall H, totally referencing the fact that
Bro, you know what's so crazy? The fact that he actually showed up and niggas was taking pictures with him, not knowing that's genuinely Ryan Reynolds is so crazy, bro. That's so, bro. Imagine you going home with a picture and then you seeing this is really I would have been shitting bricks if I realized I took a picture with this nigga just because I thought the costume was tough and it was actually fucking Ryan Reynolds.
she is Jean Grey, and Steve Lacy did spoil it at the red carpet. But you know, now that I'm looking back at the clip, all he did say was Jean, and he might have been saying that his favorite character was Jean DeWolf. Have we all been too mean to Steve Lacy? Nah, there's no way he knew Detective DeWolf's first name was Jean. So Jean Grey is an Omega-level mutant with advanced telepathic, telekinetic, and in some cases reality warping powers, and eventually becomes the host to the Cosmic Phoenix Force.
Bro, when her powers elevated off emotion, my nigga, I was like, oh shit. She went from jumping 33 feet to having control of every single person in a fucking, what was it, like a mile and something radius? I said, oh, she is not to be fucked with at all. At all. That shit was gas, bro. Everyone was just, and she was like, I can kill all of them. I said, don't do that. Please don't do that. please don't do that. She's like, I can kill all of them. All of them? Had control over everybody while still being able to control one singular. Like, you gotta think about it, chat. She had her hold over all those people and was still able to control the niggas to fight Spider-Man, and then also control the other nigga to bring him to her and hold glass at that nigga head while still controlling it. Like, god damn. Yeah, also, that is something I wanted to touch on. Why? This is another power of friendship ass win. Cause nigga, nobody was you was not beating that. Now shout out to Frank. Frank was gonna boom her shit. But Spidey small potatoes. On God, this is not a motherfucking small potato, my nigga.
She's gonna have a big future ahead of her. Sadie Sink is already confirmed to return in Avengers Secret Wars, and it's assumed that she's gonna be a star of Marvel Studios' X-Men film coming either in 2028 or 2029. But here in this movie, Marvel Studios is doing something different with Jean Grey's origin. She has an older sister named Sarah Grey, like she has in Chris Claremont's run of the comics, a sister who's also a telepathic mutant. Rather than being recruited by Charles Xavier from a young age, this Jean Grey begins with her and her sister abandoned by their mother, Elaine, into foster care. And then they become runaways using their body hopping powers for fun until they were hunted by Metzger in the DODC. So questions for the X-Men/mutant plan at Marvel Studios remain after this movie. Are there other future X-Men in this 616 universe? Like, is there a Professor X?
I genuinely think there is.
An Xavier Institute up in Westchester County? Was there an Eric Lyncher Magneto who survived the horrors of World War II in this history? While Marvel Studios has confirmed characters like Kamala Khan and Namor as genetic mutants, are there other young mutants in the 616 universe like Scott Summers, Aurora Monroe, Hank McCoy, Bobby Drake, who just haven't been discovered yet? Is there a James Logan Howlett Wolverine in the history of this universe, like that headline about a man with metal claws fighting in a bar brawl?
Man fights with metal claws and oh shit.
In that one She-Hulk episode. And why is Marvel Studios introducing a homegrown mutant now in the 616 universe right before the events of Avengers Doomsday, which will so prominently feature returning X-Men from the Fox X-Men universe of Earth 10005? And really, in the 616 universe, where have the mutants been all this time? Well, I'm guessing Marvel Studios will start to answer these questions at
Or maybe, I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Simba, it's sadly confirmed that there's no Storm in the next movie. Who? What? Huh? No Storm? What do you mean no Storm? Oh my god. Alright, I'm not gonna let it piss me off.
23 on August 14th, and then in Avengers Doomsday in December, and then throughout 2027. It was reported on Friday by Deadline that Samara Weaving from the Ready or Not films and various other roles has been cast by Marvel Studios in their upcoming X-Men film as Emma Frost, the telepath with the ability to...
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cast by Marvel Studios in their upcoming X-Men film as Emma Frost, the telepath with the ability to turn her body into an indestructible diamond texture, played by January Jones in X-Men First Class. Emma Frost is a member...
The hotter the pressure, the higher the pressure, the more dazzling the diamonds. Come on now.
Of the mutant villain Hellfire Club. Meanwhile, Obsession's Indy Navarrete revealed that she was in talks with X-Men director Jake Schreier, potentially about playing Mystique, and rumors are...
Swear to God. Wait, hold on. I like that. Oh Lord. Where's my glasses? I can't see. Fuck. Oh Lord, I got too excited. I lost my glasses. I gotta clean them. Oh Lord. Absolutely, bruh.
And rumors are out there that Charles Melton and Kaylee Spenny from Beef Season 2, which was written by the people writing the X-Men film, are in talks for characters like Beast and Rogue. But for now, my best guess is that mutants in the 616 universe have existed all this time, just in slightly isolated numbers, in secret, not realizing there were others with their shared X gene. But then recently, events in the 616 universe like gamma radiation released by the snaps of the Infinity Stones, or incursions, or just a side effect of Doctor Strange's spell, something activated dormant X genes that were in 0.5% of the population. You could say it's just natural for evolution, that with all these crazy reality warping events, 0.5% of humans would evolve to have advanced powers to help the overall species survive. I think Marvel Studios just wants Jean Grey to be the focal mutant of the story that they're telling in the mutant saga. An angry, gifted girl, grieving, oppressed, hunted, and exploited, capable of scary, violent acts, but also capable of redemption. Introducing her in this billion-dollar Spider-Man movie, I think, is the best way to get young viewers invested in her journey. And Sadie Sink is amazing casting for that. As to the Doomsday and Secret Wars of it all, I'll have more thoughts on that in future videos. MJ helps Peter fix his inhibitor chip and gives another voice of warning, saying this is like altering your DNA. Using the Oppenheimer example, she's kind of like Isadora Rabi, lovingly warning this Oppie that he is opening up too big of a Pandora's box. Meanwhile, Jean has raided the DODC headquarters tower. When Peter gets in here, he sees some hand ninjas kind of limping away, wounded from trying to fight the Hulk. Jean shows Peter Banner's broken inhibitor, meaning she inhabited Smart Hulk. This is his 7'5" form from Endgame, capable of talking and wearing some clothes, and is conscious enough.
Bro, when I first seen this, I was like, I know they didn't fucking lie to me in that trailer, but when that nigga said, no Banner, no girl, only Hulk, what? I couldn't catch my breath. My goat.
To be controlled this way. So now Peter has to use
Yeah, that's literally the only way she could have controlled him, bro. Is this way right here. The physique of Hulk, but the mind of Banner. She would not be able to control Hulk.
Of talking and wearing some clothes, and is conscious enough to be controlled this way. So now Peter has to use the second inhibitor chip on Banner first. But Jean gets a sudden headache. I wonder if she's struggling to contain the Savage Hulk identity beneath the mind of Banner that she's inhabiting. Frank Castle arrives, laying some suppressing fire and roaring like he always does, and Peter traps Banner in this web grenade. And I love how Banner here does one rare range attack that I don't think he's ever done in the MCU, the seismic stomp. He does it on Punisher. I love seeing it here. Clearly, Destin Daniel Cretton is a huge fan of the Hulk. It shows. Peter webs both of them and drag.
This scene was so gas. Oh my god, this scene right here was so fucking gas, bro.
Frank under a leaping Hulk to shoot him from below. Oh
god, I want to see it again. I need to go see the movie again. I'm going again. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. I'm going again.
At Hulk's feet and his like under section, and then when Hulk's facing away from him, he totally gets a shot right up his butthole. Now Frank grabs this alien grenade. So the art book for this movie confirmed that the DODC also has confiscated Chitauri tech and Sakaran tech and tech from Rocket Raccoon. So I feel like this grenade is something Rocket had. Now Banner is able to angrily force Jean out of his brain, but it's really the deeper Savage Hulk monster that's the source of this rage. Frank and Peter bicker over a plan. Peter goes to try to contain Hulk with the chip, while Frank goes to take out Jean, and he wants to shoot her, a plan that he'll eventually just carry through in this movie. But
these niggas like yo, nah, these niggas was deadass having a New York argument, bro. This nigga was like nigga, you not listening, bro. Like just listen, you not listening, my nigga. Oh my god.
Gets distracted by this alien skull in a liquid tank. I think this is a preserved Chitauri skull. So Jean surprises him and inhabits him and hilariously notes, this guy's got issues. Yeah, just pay no attention to the ghost son screaming at you in the corner. Later, John Bernthal has some fun with his Sadie Sink voice saying, whoa, good luck with that, Peter, and kind of walks away. And I just love here that we get a proper Bruce Banner Hulk out scene.
Oh my, chat. Come on now. I see it. Come on now. Come on now. My fucking goat, bruh.
That Peter, and kind of walks away. And I just love here that we get a proper Bruce Banner Hulk out scene. It's crazy to think how rare it's been in this franchise to actually see Bruce Banner try to fight off and ultimately lose to the Savage Hulk that tears out of his shirt and not cut away from it. 2012's Avengers only showed the moment Banner actively controlled the transition.
I'm always angry.
But it's clear here that Destin Daniel Cretton just really gets the Hulk and what makes him iconic. So now
please give us a Hulk movie, bro. Like genuinely, we haven't had we need this, bro. We need a genuine him fighting off the Hulk, bro. This shit is so gas. It's so tough, bro.
Stay with Hulk on the full transition. And for the first time since the opening minutes of Infinity War, Hulk is back to his Savage Hulk form. 8'5", more monstrous than Ruffalo actually looks. And now our man is shredded. He's veiny, there's no body fat, he's terrifying. Hulk's first move is to grab Spider-Man by the legs
and did the look. Oh my god. I genuine, like, yo, you should have seen me in the movie theater, bro. I kid you not. I was so happy, bro. I was trying not to scream so bad, bro. I was so happy. Like, it made me fucking happy, bro.
Thrash him around, just like he did to Loki and Thor. He's got a favorite move. But one thing that Hulk is not ready for, because he's never fought Spider-Man, is how nimble this spider is. Spider-Man crawls on Hulk's back, which is an iconic visual that goes back to their first comic duo appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man number 14. This Spidey versus Hulk fight is just exhilarating. Cretton and Pollack.
It was so good. Like, the clap, all of it was so good.
Shoot Peter in this shot, webbing down a quarter at us on all surfaces, having the camera follow Peter as we're spiraling.
This shot was great too. This shot was great.
down the hallway, and this giant green thread just plows after
This
us.
shot
This
was so
spinning
great.
Inception hallway is my favorite shot of the movie. But then the webbing eventually snares Hulk, and he breaks out of it with his other iconic range attack, the Thunderclap. The Thunderclap was featured in the 2008 Incredible Hulk film, but that Hulk used it to extinguish flames on a helicopter. It was shown again briefly in the She-Hulk series, but Smart Hulk's Thunderclap was shown as weaker than his cousin Jen's were. But this Savage Hulk's Thunderclap is an explosive blast. Peter grabs the Shocker's gauntlet, labeled in his heads-up display as Gauntlet X. Maybe the DODC is starting to use the X nomenclature for how they plan to use these devices. Spider-Man and Hulk tumble out the side of the building. When Hulk rams them into the facade they're speeding past, we get this great scaling of his massive thumb and fingernail on Peter's shoulder. Peter misses the chip at first, and it flies right at camera, and then he whips it back away from us, and then he webs past Hulk. And I love this detail, how Hulk learns during this fight. He just looks at the web and grabs it to pull Peter back through a window. Now Peter swings around the building, webbing Hulk to pin him more and more against the face of the building. But unfortunately, the inhibitor chip will not stick through Hulk's thick skin, so Hulk rips off this whole side of the building, sending them falling in the debris. But Peter has fought in this kind of terminal velocity environment before, jumping from debris piece to debris piece while saving the heroes from Thanos' moon toss in Infinity War. So now Peter's able to lily pad back to Hulk and Shocker Gauntlet uppercut him. So now with Hulk being tugged backwards by the heavy debris, he tries to stand his ground.
Bro, the fact that he's holding up and still pushing through debris, like full on building debris is pulling him down. The weight of the building debris is, and he's like, this shit is so good, bro.
And then Peter, thinking he has the upper ground, goes in for a KO,
That
but
nigga
Hulk
said,
catches
"Fuck
the Shocker
no."
Gauntlet and crushes it. Hulk nearly
Like Hulk could have ended this nigga right here. Power of friendship, bro. That's the only thing. Stop nerfing my GOAT. He could have killed Spidey right here. Power of friendship is the only shit that saved that nigga. Stop nerfing my fucking GOAT, nigga. He's him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get real passionate about this.
kills Peter here, but Peter gasps, "Bruce, it's Peter, I'm your friend." And Hulk, not Banner, but Hulk, sees Peter's eyes through the mask, and he sees his own reflection, and he lets go. So why does Hulk back down here? Did Peter somehow break through to Bruce? I mean, Hulk's hand was right up against Peter's body. Did the Peter tingle do a kind of sun's getting real low stroke on Hulk's palm under there? Well, I see this as evidence that Savage Hulk did remember Peter Parker, that Savage Hulk was unaffected by Doctor Strange's memory wipe spell.
I think the same thing. I think
Banner didn't remember who Peter was, but I think Hulk did. Meanwhile, Jean and possessed Frank break into the vault.
I said that. I just said that like 30 minutes ago. I said that. Did I not say that? Savage Hulk remembers. I said that.
But Peter gets in and sticks a chip on her neck. And as Jean goes down from the dart, she tells Peter, Sarah, before she passes out. When Peter gets back to MJ on the boat, he sees, uh-oh, she has found the letter. And we have this heartbreaking face-to-face exchange over Peter's...
Yo, chat, I'm not gonna lie. When she said, I don't love you, it wasn't as bad as him getting played, but like, that shit is still soul crushing, bro. It's like, it's an understandable, I don't love you. You can't love somebody you don't remember. You know what I'm saying? You can't love somebody you don't remember, but it was like, damn, like it's, bruh. Yeah, it's an ugly truth, bruh.
Decision to not tell MJ all this time they've known each other and to erase her memory. And Peter says that he doesn't want to live without her and says, I love you. The phrase that she wouldn't let him say to her face back in No Way Home until he came back to find her. He's like, maybe this is the moment. But now MJ just says the spell worked and the girl who loved Peter is gone. And while she's grateful that Peter did this to protect her, the MJ standing before him now can't love him. She doesn't even know him. I love the way Zendaya plays this. It's like a heartbreaking exchange, but with...
I ain't gonna lie, Zendaya... Great fucking actor. Three different personas in this whole movie, bruh. Like, on God, triple threat. She's a D1 acting demon. She got it, bro.
So much emotional truth that we cannot help but agree with her. And on top of it all, Peter has to hold MJ as he swings her back home.
And you can tell the difference of when she was fucking mind controlled and when she wasn't. Because now that she's mind controlled, the swinging is scary. Like, do you understand how many different variables come into that? From not being scared, this is this, you know what I'm saying, being her sarcastic, like, Yo, she's an actor, bro.
But MJ isn't breaking up with him forever. She brings him inside to meet Ned.
The Spidey Tracker app says that Spider-Man is in the direct vicinity.
Oh yeah? No way, that's crazy.
Ned drops his tablet the same way he dropped the Lego Death Star upon seeing Spider-Man in the same room as him in Homecoming. Notice the tablet glitches when it hits the floor. I wonder if this is connected to the glitches the app experiences when it locates another Spider-Man in nearby space in the post-credit scene. It could all come from Ned's innate sorcery that he had in No Way Home, specifically when he located Peter 2, Tobey Maguire. Peter and Ned go right back into their old ways, this time working together.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, this scene made me so happy though. It felt like they were just like friends again, bro. It like, oh God, this is such a good fucking movie, bro. It felt like they like no time was lost. It was back to normal.
To build a Lego X-Wing, mirroring how they previously built a Lego Death Star. The X-Wing is the fighter that brought down the first Death Star. Just like the rapid-fire questions Ned asked Peter in Homecoming about the spider that bit Peter and Peter controlling the minds of other spiders, now Ned does a similar thing, asking Peter what he does when he has to pee, if he just finds a rooftop. Not only does this harken back to their high school days, Peter's also surprised to see how Ned has grown after graduating MIT, guessing pretty close to how Peter engineered his web shooters and his web fluid. And now these two nerds quote,
"If you're referring to the incident with the dragon, I was barely involved. All I did was give your uncle a little nudge out the door."
This is a quote from Ian McKellen's Gandalf from Peter Jackson's 2001 Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring.
If you're referring to the incident with the dragon, I was barely involved. All I did was give your uncle a little nudge out of the door.
Gandalf was referring in that moment to the events of The Hobbit, when he and Bilbo encounter the dragon Smaug. Yes, it is wild that Peter and Ned here are doing an impression of Ian McKellen, who's about to join this universe as his other iconic role of Magneto. The MCU is full of these kind of paradoxes of movies starring actors in the MCU appearing as movies in the MCU. But we should also acknowledge it's kind of crazy that the dragon in that franchise referenced in that line was played by Benedict Cumberbatch, whom both of these kids just worked alongside in the previous film when he played Doctor Strange. I mean, obviously,
damn, that's actually insane.
The Lord of the Rings movies can exist in the MCU. I don't think the X-Men movies can exist as movies in the MCU. But just as MJ did in Homecoming, now she sketches what she sees. Before it was a doodle of Coach Wilson, now we see Ned and Peter building the Lego X-Wing together, but Peter's mask is up in the sketch, which means that she was able to redraw his face from memory.
And yeah, oh wow.
From their sad chat on the boat several minutes before. Peter realizes that Metzger lied to him about who Sarah is, so Yelena helps with research that Jean Grey had a sister named Sarah, a fellow telepath who was experimented on by the DODC. And with Jean in captivity, we see the flashback of her final memory of Sarah, played by actress Olivia Booth Ford. Jean is established as having an older sister named Sarah in 1980's Uncanny X-Men number 136. Sarah has latent mental powers like her sister Jean, and according to this 2014 CBR article, Chris Claremont planned that Sarah would be a mutant with the ability to activate latent powers in other mutants, as she does for her sister Jean in this movie. Here, Sarah teaches Jean to body hop, and they talk about how a mother gave them up when their telepathic powers began to express themselves. Jean asks, "What would you do if you had daughters like us?" And Sarah responds, "I'd love them, especially the redhead." Someday in the future, Jean will have at least one daughter, Rachel Summers, and her clone, Madeline Pryor, will give Scott Summers a son, Nathan Summers, aka Cable, a motherhood that Jean will kind of share through cosmic memories shared through the astral plane to Madeline. Sarah has a green and yellow and blue scrunchie that Jean will later use to remember Sarah. These are the comic colors of Jean's Marvel Girl suit. Sarah gets arrested by Metzger in the DODC. It actually looks like the whole ice cream truck was in on it, because Jean, after being forced to walk away by Sarah, sees that ice cream truck slamming the door, with Sarah probably inside. Jean is now in this containment cell on Roosevelt Island. Roosevelt Island, in the middle of the East River, has some importance to Spider-Man cinematic lore. It was the Roosevelt Island Tramway in 2002 Spider-Man where that Tobey Maguire Peter faced off with Green Goblin. Metzger set up this room apparently as a playful bedroom for Sarah. Like, you can see roller skates on the floor and paintbrushes on the table. Super messed up considering what it was really built for, as he explains to Jean, to scan their telepathic brains to replicate this in the mind of another person that they could control. Metzger says, "You're gonna change the world, Jean." Yes, an Omega level mutant like her certainly does have the capacity to change the world in all kinds of ways. Metzger activates the brain scanning machine that he built through the many months of trials with Sarah, and he deliberately tells Jean to honor her sister's sacrifice, knowing that Jean's anger will get her to repeatedly try to jump so that they can see what part of her brain is being used to do that. But we have to ask, would any such DODC device have ever worked? Could they replicate this telepathy power in any body, or just someone's body who has the X gene? I just find Metzger's plan in this movie to be woefully incomplete. It seems like these human authorities have yet to make the discovery Kamala's friend Bruno made, that for some of these people, their powers come from their genetic makeup. Jean makes the heartbreaking discovery of what VMAX really is. Just the last thing Sarah saw when she died of exhaustion, looking up at the ceiling and seeing the peeling label of the AC vent, Vent Max. And now this trauma, this anger really enhances Jean's powers. And the way Jean's neural passageways light up her brain scan here,
That shit was so insane.
Does remind me of the opening title animation of the earlier era Fox X-Men films, showing the advanced human brain of Charles Xavier as we were seeing Cerebro at work. The DODC text says that Jean's frequencies are evolving and her brainwaves are somehow affecting objects in the room, showing that in addition to telepathy, she also has telekinesis. When Metzger reaches for the controls to shut it down, the tech grabs his arm and says, "I can't let you do that, Bill." A reference to the creepy moment in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Jean says, "The only hands that will control this power are mine." And boom! She releases a psychic shockwave that blows out the windows of the control room, freezing everyone in there, and it's spreading out from Roosevelt Island and then throughout the city, freezing diners in this restaurant. I love the detail of the cyclist crashing into the car crash and the cyclist himself going paralytic midair, and then of course the dog on the other side of the barrier barking. Jean's psionic energy pulsates with the translucent rainbow glow that goes particularly pink when we pass through it to Frank. Usually a pink glow is the manifestation of Jean Grey's psionic powers. Peter goes into this prison facility and Jean takes control of the hand. I love Finn Zhang's fight choreography, even if I don't know why logically the hand are in this movie. Notice how at first they all link up in a chain with their initial blows against Peter, and then they leap in the air at him, which even Peter can't help but marvel at. God, that's cool.
You're right, nah, real shit. Like, damn, that's fucking cool. I can't hate on it. I'm about to beat y'all ass, but this shit tough. I ain't gonna lie. Oh God.
Wuxia-inspired wire work here as Peter runs from a ninja along the cage wall, and then on the higher level, the camera pivots upside down to follow.
This was fucking. Oh my God, this was great. This was fucking shot amazing. It was so good. It was so good. It was. Oh my God, that movie.
Peter on the ceiling as he continues to fight them.
Hey, give me 4 hours next time. I'm not even gonna lie. Give me 4 hours, bro. Real shit. Like. Give me 4 hours. I don't care. I oh God, make it 5. Make it 5. You know what I'm saying? Shit, we can even do 6. You know what I'm saying? Give me some more. You know what I'm saying? Fuck.
But unfortunately for Peter, the DODC have these sonic web dispersion cannons that Peter realized they specifically designed to control him. The ninjas destroy both of Peter's web shooters and work with the DODC cannons to knock Peter out. Meanwhile, Jean holds Metzger in a chair with glass shards pointed at his face, similar to how Ebony Maw tortured Dr. Strange on the Q-ship in Infinity War. Meanwhile, she tells Peter through this hand ninja, "People like us don't get to live a normal life. We don't get to have friends or family. Those people are gone." Peter remembers the moment Aunt May died, when he embraced MJ in No Way Home, putting his head to her head, when he did his final handshake with Ned, and when both MJ and Ned hugged Peter on the rooftop to console him for losing May. Jean tries to make Peter choose. Are you
like either Peter or Spider-Man? Nah, nigga, I'm both.
Are you Peter Parker or are you Spider-Man? The idea being enhanced beings like us, mutant or not, have to choose between having souls and empathy and human connection, or we're just our lonely superhero or supervillain monikers, and that's it. Peter removes his chip and he lets his eyes turn black and he declares, "I'm both." And he uses his freaky strong organic webbing to shatter the sword. But as Peter punches this ninja upward and webs him before that ninja gets impaled on a pipe, his eyes retract and he regains control over both his arachnid hormones and his empathetic human identity. He's now kind of like Neo seeing the Matrix. He dodges the ninja stars with framing looking.
Oh my God, I need to see the movie again. I have to see it again. I have to see it again. I have to see it. It has to be seen again. I have to watch it again.
Like Tobey Maguire when Joe Manganiello's huge arm punched past his head and he turned his head back to look at Flash's face. Our Peter's organic webbing takes out the cannons because those cannons were not calibrated for whatever this is. And then Peter leaps up to end up doing a web tornado. Not to hurt the hand ninjas, but to suspend them all in his spider's web. Finally, Peter's able to put his endless fire hose web spray to use in this film. Peter gets into the room where Jean is and he allows Jean to inhabit his mind this time. And now Jean joins Peter and May in the bedroom, and it's Jean sitting on the bed with May instead of Peter because Peter knows that the wisdom May gave him in that moment to him as a teenager after she realized he had powers is the same wisdom that Jean Grey needs to hear as her powers have activated. And May says, "You're a really special person, and I know that will always make you feel really great about yourself, but I know sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it will be really lonely, and sometimes because you're special, people can do dark, monstrous things to you. But this is what I want you to know. You're beautiful, and the people who love you, we love you not because you're special. We love you because you're you. I want you to remember that. Even when it feels like you're totally alone, that's your deepest responsibility. Never forget that, no matter how powerful you become."
Shout out Aunt May, still fucking cooking to this day. Still cooking to this day. Aunt May. What's up, girl? Come on, let me crack. That we find shit.
No, there's just something about an aunt telling a nephew that he's beautiful that is just so sweet. And it hits even harder that Jean Grey just needs a mom to tell her this. Also,
Literally.
again, I love the include.
Nah, deadass needed, like, this is something like she didn't have a mom, so this is something that she needed. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The brown paper bag from Tony Stark here in the scene, visible in the shot. Written on it, "This belongs to you, TS." Because in a way, Tony Stark is giving his blessing here. He's telling both Spider-Man and Jean Grey, and all mutants after her, that this world belongs to them. Peter now takes May's place on the bed and tells Jean that she's not alone, effectively becoming the ambassador to all mutant kind in the MCU. A responsibility that Peter will have to fight to uphold, considering he's also the Oppenheimer.
Yeah, it's so crazy, like how you're literally like, oh, you're not alone. I got you. We're good. You know what I'm saying? But you also made the thing that is going to be used to try to control them. It's just so crazy. Like, it's just, it sets it up for so much more stuff.
Who invented the mutant inhibitor collar. Peter's Spidey sense alerts him to the dark void of this room, death itself, and Frank Castle's sniper.
And shout out to motherfucking Jean, man. Shout out to Jean. I ain't gonna lie, you did your biggest.
That 0.02 second reaction time from the DODC scanner earlier in the film comes into play here as he steps in front of the bullet. Jean puts her hand on Peter and begins to breathe. Later, while he recovers, we see that she's somewhere in a park using her powers to continue to breathe for him and to keep his heart beating. That's incredible.
That's so... Yo, when I realized she was breathing for him, I was like, bro, this movie gas! Real shit, I'm like, oh my God, they really fucking cooking.
Frank Castle cradles Spider-Man's wounded body into the ER. You know his ghost son was like, I didn't mean get him, Daddy. Frank holding Peter like this recalls Steve McNiven's art in 2006's Civil War #5, when Peter, after getting the Iron Spider suit and unmasking himself publicly, ends up getting beaten up by Jester and Jack-O-Lantern, and Punisher finds him and takes him into an infirmary shouting, "Give me a medic, now!" The people of New York City hold candlelight vigils, and we see the Empire State Building light up red and blue. This shot was actually recorded in March of this year, when Tom Holland appeared on the observation deck of the Empire State Building to promote the launch of the first trailer. Peter wakes up and finds MJ's drawing at his bedside with lots of other crappier kids' drawings. After an apology from Frank, Peter walks out unmasked among the crowd as Frank redirects their attention up to the window, waving, wearing the Spider-Man mask from the room, allowing Peter to just enjoy this moment. In a way, Frank also gets to experience something new, the adoration of fans. I love how Frank seems to be like crouching down with his legs.
He was so happy. He's like...
spread out to look shorter in the window. One other kid in this crowd seems to recognize Peter and kind of does the webbing hand gesture to him, and Peter playfully does it back. It's kind of like Captain America Winter Soldier, when the random kid was able to see under Steve Rogers' ball gap disguise, and Steve trusted that kid to keep a secret. Now, I would like to say that this kid could be a young Miles Morales, but I can't make that case for every kid in this.
He's too young.
Movie. Also, the year right now in the MCU is like 2028 to 2029, and I don't know if this kid was alive 11 to 12 years before this when Aaron Davis in Spider-Man Homecoming mentioned having a nephew in Brooklyn. Like, I don't know, this kid looks like he's like 6 years old. And then we see this lovely shot of Peter sitting on the same part of the construction scaffolding that he sat on when he was feeling really lonely in the earlier shot of the film. Now the building is more complete, and we see a coffee cup, the same kind of coffee cup that MJ gave him, but now he drinks out of it because he's no longer using these type of things to keep letters that he'll never give people. And it's almost like he's still star-crossed, looking across the city at someone with the sunrise behind her, MJ. She is sitting on the same rooftop where she, Peter, and Ned sat atop in Spider-Man No Way Home when they were dreaming of their...
Oh, I saw that, but I couldn't. I was thinking it was like an old scene or something. Okay, I can. Okay, I see the okay.
future, and she holds her broken Black Dahlia necklace. Part of her misses what she had with Peter. And then we see Jean resting her head against the bus window, a reflection of herself leaning back against her head, like two Jeans sharing a mind. An astral form of Madeline Pryor coming in the future, perhaps. This bus is taking Jean somewhere out of town. I'm gonna assume it's going north
towards. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You see the leaves changing. She headed towards Westchester, nigga.
Toward Hudson River Valley, Westchester County, where a certain Xavier Institute might be.
Chat, you wanna know what's so crazy? If this shit was real, growing up as a kid, I would have lived right next to this motherfucker.
Peter put some fresh flowers on May's grave.
Move back real quick. All right, for sure.
The epitaph of the headstone, when you help someone, you help everyone, certainly takes on a deeper meaning as Peter helped Jean Grey and potentially helped all future mutants. Detective DeWolf calls to say that
Cyclops lasered your Xbox.
Is still missing, but that Yelena Belova helped all future mutants. Detective DeWolf calls to say that Metzger is still missing, but that Yelena Belova is helping the authorities investigate the files the DODC tried to have scrubbed. So now we see how Yelena and the New Avengers could be allies to mutant kind against the authorities trying to hunt sent them. Also, I love Tremel Tillman in this movie. I would love it if he were the governmental mutant big bad of the first few mutant movies. Kind of like a William Stryker figure, or at least someone partnering with the Bolivar Trask, creating Sentinels, using Peter Parker's technology. The film ends back in the bodega. Peter reintroduces himself to his buddy Ned with
I need to understand how this worked. Like, it made me happy, but I need to understand how this worked.
the recurring handshake, and Ned magically remembers the exact steps of it. He looks up in astonishment and says, Peter. Is he just connecting the fact that MJ told him that Spider-Man's name was Peter? No, I choose to believe that he remembers everything in this moment. Could it be the simple muscle memory of a best friend? Is it the fact that Ned is a natural sorcerer who could operate a sling ring, just being somewhat resistant to Doctor Strange's spell? Or does that Doctor Strange spell just not comprehend these simple gestures of friendship, a kind of love that surpasses all types of obstacles and magic? I mean, MJ even seemed kind of envious of the natural bond that Peter and Ned
Yeah, it was so, it was like nothing ever happened. It was instantaneous how they were friends back doing the same shit. Because you also got to think about it. They were friends longer than those two were dating. They were locked in. They were really locked in. Like, yes, she got brought in and they have like a love connection, but these niggas were friends for longer.
Types of obstacles and magic. I mean, MJ even seemed kind of envious of the natural bond that Peter and Ned shared, as if she knew that these two were really the ones who needed each other. And for how I think this final shot connects to Ned's Spidey tracker in the post-credit scene, watch our post-credit scene video. But two little details that I will add here that I did not cover in that video. This Spidey tracker app has a new emblem in the lower left, and that was not there in other shots of the Spidey tracker app throughout the film. And the second detail is we gotta remember that this app works by users posting sightings. So really, this secondary Peter is a sighting in space posted by someone else. Who posted it? Was it Nick Fury from a space station, or was it posted by a Ned variant using a variant Spidey tracker app on whatever variant Earth this is, just posted a sighting of whatever that Earth's Spider-Man is?
And Earth maybe got too close. What if it's another sighting that they did on another app in another universe, but their Earth got too close during the Doomsday? Oh! Okay.
Whew, I loved this movie. There you go. That's this many Easter eggs and details. We did it. I can't wait to see this movie again and find even more stuff. Comment down below with everything you loved about this movie. And
this movie was so good, bro. That movie was so good. I want to see it again. Shout out New Rock Stars, man.